What's up, everybody? We're here. We're finally up and running. It took us a little while to get started tonight. A lot of stuff going on. But we're here, and we're happy to be here. We're going to talk about some great things. I'm happy to have everybody in the building. You're watching Young Lion TV.
Young Lion, young lion. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, young lion. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Everywhere I look, they're dying. Young lion, won't you get up and stop fighting? Everywhere I look,
Yes, sir. That is the intro. You are watching Young Lion TV. We're here at True Sound Studios at our building in Camden, New Jersey. And this is episode 140 of the Young Lion TV podcast. I got all the fellas in the building with me, except for the brother James. He's working right now, building some things right, building it right. So he can't be here right now. But we're going to have some good conversation. I got Moan with me, of course.
What's up?
And the brother Stan with the Elite FC on.
What up?
Jake rocking the Marvel shirt,
Same shirt that was in the video.
Same shirt that was in that video. Yes. And of course, we got John, and Rachel helping us out with the production. As always, John with the Lumberjack, still going strong every week.
Paul
Every
Bunyan.
week, you'll catch him in the Paul Bunyan. But yeah, we appreciate you guys.
They look bright too.
Yeah, they look super white. Casper over there. Yeah, I don't know. Does it look like that on the phone? No, the phone. Look how different the phone looks.
Yeah,
the phone looks really good. Maybe that's just the live stream that Facebook gives us. But anyway, everybody in the chat
didn't alter videos. No,
yeah,
I'm kidding.
No, that's different. Appreciate you guys in the chat who are watching. Mom already came in and said, "What's up? What's up, Mom?
Hi, Mom.
We love you too." Hey, if you're watching right now, or if you're watching this on the repeat, doesn't matter. Hit that share button, hit that like button, because it helps us out. It helps the algorithm. Try to get it to more people, because the things we talk about are definitely controversial, and even our titles sometimes, they don't. Did Twitch let you put the title up this week, John?
Oh, yes.
Okay, cool. Because last week they wasn't letting us. The words we were using were
Oh, no, I deleted that
yeah.
second best Canadian part.
Oh, you just didn't even put that in.
No, I put it on there, but it puts a flag.
Oh, okay.
I took it off.
Okay, so it wouldn't let you put our original title.
No, I just took that word off.
That's what I'm saying. So yeah. But shout out to everybody if you're watching on Twitch. We still appreciate y'all. Twitch is a little more sensitive to certain topics and certain things. We still going to talk about it though. If they ban us, they ban us.
Try to censor.
But basically, I was comparing Canada to a form of 1940s style of government.
Starts with an N?
Starts with an F.
Fascism.
Well, N.
Yeah.
NF.
Yeah, NF. Yeah.
You could say that. I think it's just the title.
The title. Okay. Well, we'll say it anyway, because we're going to say it many times anyway. Because what's going on in Canada is definitely crazy right now. But we'll get into that later. Like, it's getting even crazier. But yeah. So what's going on, guys? Super Bowl this weekend. How was it?
It was a good game.
It was a good game.
Yeah,
it was a good game.
So. Good football. Not a high scoring game. Yeah, what was it, 23-20 or something like that?
Yeah, it was.
Now I heard there was a fight.
No, it was a fight.
Oh, it was a
yeah,
fight.
yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I heard there was like a lot of questionable calls though. That kind of like
When
people
it
are
mattered.
people are saying
When
that
it
it
mattered.
seemed rigged. What
No,
are your
to me-
thoughts on?
It wasn't rigged. It was just some of the calls. It was when it mattered, really.
Yeah.
To me, not being a fan of either team, it looked like they let both team play. Like they let them get scrappy on defense.
They let them get scrappy.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I heard from other people, because I mean, full disclosure, I didn't watch the game at all. I didn't watch 1 second of the game.
Yeah.
And not out of protest. It's just I just didn't feel like why I could.
Yeah.
I almost forgot, to be honest with you. Like I was chilling at the crib and we was eating dinner and watching some other stuff, and then I was like, oh crap, the Super Bowl's on. And I was just like, you know what I mean? I don't know. For some reason, I don't know. I've just been disillusioned with watching sports, period. Any sport. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, for some reason,
I enjoyed the halftime show.
I did watch that after the fact. I didn't watch it during, but I watched it after the fact to see, it was very nostalgic.
It was nostalgic. That's what it was.
But anyway, I want to get back to this.
There wasn't no Illuminati.
There wasn't a lot of the only
yeah,
the only thing that became a controversy was Eminem.
Why Eminem kneeling?
The only white person on the whole show was the one who took a knee.
Oh god.
So they turned it into a whole story about like. But the thing is, like, what if he was just emotional? You know, what if he just
No.
What if he was just emotional in that
He
moment?
was kneeling for something.
I saw a whole story on Spider Pig.
What's Spider Pig?
Dollar.
What
50 Cent.
Miles Morales?
Yeah.
Oh
no,
yeah,
because
when he was out during our day, he had the wife beater.
Yeah, the G Unit white beater. Yeah,
he wore that, but he a little husky now.
Yeah. I saw it. You see him breathing all hard when he was hanging upside down. That blood pressure wasn't flowing the same as it did in his 20s. Boy, he was like,
there was like a whole
he
thread
ain't
on
Diesel 50
TikTok
no more.
about it.
yeah, he was definitely. He was
$1.50.
He was definitely chunky.
Yeah,
up
they
there.
were saying that's what they were saying.
Yeah, they was calling
He's
him
more
they said,
more like 75 cents.
They were
yeah.
like, he's $1.50 for inflation.
Yeah. He's Joe Biden got him too, right? His 50 cent now is now no, but then he would have been more skinny, right? Because that 50 cent would be only worth 10 cents.
Right. There you go.
That's true.
But no, so getting back to the calls controversy. So what I heard was, and y'all correct me if you saw this too, but a lot of people, because I was just scrolling Twitter, they were saying that like they let them play, but then the last like 5 minutes of the game, they started making all these calls that seemed ticky tacky. Like one of them was a holding
PI.
call that really changed. Like it would have been a fourth down that would have changed the outcome of the game, but they called like a weak holding, ticky tack holding on a linebacker or something.
Yeah. It's like the evolution of the game. Like once it starts getting towards the end,
Right.
Like maybe you got to think of the ref. It's like
if you haven't been calling it all day, and then it's a game changing call,
There
why
was
make
a
the call?
game-changing pass interference, fourth down, real late in the game, like last 2 minutes.
That's what I think I'm talking about.
Yeah, there was no pass interference, but they called it.
I mean,
Then they followed it up with an actual.
Yo,
pass
being a ref. We were just talking about.
Hold up, real quick. George said, "What's up, fam? What up, George?
What up, George?
Hit that share button. Hit the like button. Go ahead.
No, we were just talking about soccer. Like that. These refs, that to me, that's like the hardest job or the most dangerous job because whatever you call, you're gonna piss somebody
just
off.
imagine having to leave the
Come this
the
way a little
stadium
bit.
like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about soccer and how they had gangs and stuff like that, and all this stuff happens during sports. It's
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
That's
think, you know what? I think
tough.
that's what it is for me about watching sports right now. Is like I still enjoy sports, and I still like if I'm hanging with y'all and the game's on, like I'm gonna watch and I'm gonna enjoy it because I love sports. I still play soccer. I never watch it, but I still play. But I think for me, it's like I can't invest my emotional energy into that anymore. Like I can't be invested in who the players are and what's the stats and who we get in next season. It's too much. I got too many other things mentally that I need to do and be focused on. And I'm at an age now where the hard drive space is getting full. So it's like I can't, how a hard drive is, like once you put certain things in there,
no need to have that in there.
Right. So that's an easy
that's
delete.
Yeah, I'm out of that too.
That's the easy delete.
I think from the whole thing that happened with the NFL, me not watching it for like a year and a half, whatever it was, a season. It broke something in me.
Yeah.
I don't get like when the Eagles lose.
You don't care.
Who cares?
Right. Yeah, I think that was the same thing for me. Like just take that whole break from it, and then like watching how they handled COVID, like watching how a lot of these sports teams put these mandates on players. And then the hypocrisy I saw, that was the first thing I saw on Twitter last night was the mask thing.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone was blowing that up all night. Like, yo, look at all these celebrities. Because California is still in a state of emergency, technically.
They ended it, the mask thing, I think today.
Yeah, but it was still. But
they did that on purpose.
They did that.
Yeah,
right. It was
for the game.
What they did was it was still in a state of emergency though, so that they could keep the mask mandates in place. And this was during the Super Bowl, so people were tweeting out like, okay, so the kids are still required to wear a mask in schools, and the state is in a state of emergency so that we can't drop these mandates, but you can host 40,000 people in a stadium for
no
the Super
mask.
Bowl, and most of them, I mean, some people had masks on from what I saw, but the majority didn't.
Yeah.
I saw Justin Bieber without a mask.
Dude, Justin Bieber, LeBron James,
Jay-Z,
Ellen,
all of them.
Jay-Z, all the celebrities
Matt
that
Damon.
are constantly on Twitter telling everybody, you know, people were showing like the side by side, like what's the chick from the actress, the blonde chick, South African.
South African blonde chick.
Charlize Theron.
She's South African?
Yeah.
What?
So
Yeah.
so
Really? Yes.
so Charlize Theron, she's what would you know her from? You wouldn't know her from nothing. She's
Monster. The movie Monster.
no,
I don't
he
be
wouldn't
knowing
have
people
seen
by
that.
name.
He wouldn't have seen that. I'm trying to think of a young movie he would have.
She's on the new Netflix thing where she's like
Oh, that lady?
Yeah. See how he said
goddess.
that lady, that old head right there. But anyway, so
No,
they were.
I don't know a lot of actors by name.
She's been on Twitter like telling people like, don't be an asshole, wear a mask, you know, things like
Mm-hmm.
that. And then, you know, they were showing her like the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
you know, yucking it up with no mask
Yeah,
on, you know.
it's a hypocrisy.
Totally packed into a state. This is an indoor stadium. You know what I mean? This isn't even outdoor. So, you know, just a hypocrisy. Matter of fact, let me, I think I was going to show a tweet about that. Where is it? I think it was deleted. I think it was deleted, Joe. Hold on real
Yeah, I
quick.
saw a lot of stuff people were posting about like the celebrities were not wearing masks, but then like they would take pictures and all the people that were working were wearing masks. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
The staff had to wear masks. Yeah.
Yeah, so-
Dude, the tweet is deleted. It was literally a collage of all the celebrities, and it said the pandemic is over. You know what I mean? Apparently, the pandemic is over.
Right.
But they deleted that tweet, so can't show it.
shout out to Charlene, Lena,
Shout out to Lena.
Yeah.
Charlena.
It don't make no sense.
Yeah.
Because you know they're touching your food back there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people were showing
with no gloves.
People were showing Ellen DeGeneres a lot too, because they were showing her audience and like you have to wear a mask to come to her show. But then she's at the Super Bowl, you know, free as a bird, taking selfies.
I saw something. I don't know if you got this, Jamie, but because I don't know what you're gonna show us.
Yeah.
That's the thing, guys. We don't know most of the stuff he's gonna show us. So I saw something with I think it was like the Board of Education, or it might have just been in a council meeting. I don't know what it was, but it was in California, one town in California.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how like kids not wearing masks are basically they're murdering people.
What?
Like that's how far they were
No,
taking it.
I didn't see that.
Like, dude, they're taking it way too. It's just the indoctrination, the way they were talking. It's crazy.
It's the fear mongering, man.
Yeah.
Comply.
It's the fear mongering.
And people are
you-
brought in. I don't know where it was at a college somewhere. I think it was California too. They it couldn't have been California because they got rid of the mask, man, at the campus, but they protested to get the masks back.
Really?
Yeah, some of the kids.
The kids did?
Yeah.
Well, no, we want
We
the
want
mask. I feel unsafe.
Yeah.
Yo.
It's like, come on,
If
man.
you feel unsafe, you wear the mask.
You wear the mask. They're not saying you don't.
Yeah.
You can still
That-
wear it.
That's the thing. You can wear it.
if you're-
Yo, you
Yeah.
can wear a mask anytime you want.
you want.
All right.
Yeah.
But they,
If you wear it, you're
but they're
protected.
saying people
Yeah.
are murdering them. I mean, not only that the masks don't even work. Like, let's not even
The
go
cloth
into
masks.
that.
Let's keep
Right.
it.
No.
Well, no. Just for
Right.
for the
For getting banned
YouTube
purposes.
the banning purposes.
He's right.
All right.
What has been completely debunked and proven through science?
Right.
What the science
The cloth
says is the cloth
masks.
masks do not work.
Yeah.
you know
And
what
you
I
can
mean?
just use your imagination.
Right.
with
Right.
What
text
has
along with
actually been proven is
Right.
all across the board.
Well,
I'll say.
there's
more.
other science that disputes whether even the N95 mask or some of these
Right.
other
Even though-
medical masks are
Even though Dr. Fauci said that you can make the cloth mask at home, they work just
Yeah,
as good.
they work just
Just
as
There's
good.
videos of
was
him
his
saying
words.
that.
They were his words, not ours.
Shout out to Emma.
What up, Emma?
So-
One of the young lions, man. One of the supporters. Matter of fact, I didn't even
dropped the
shout out.
rendezvous?
I didn't. Oh yeah, the rendezvous is in the chat. If anybody wants to jump on there, Lena, if you want to try to get on there and say hi this week, I put the link in the chat. It's pinned to the chat, so you can get on there. And before I forget, man, I gotta give all the the links and everything. So if you want to support what we do, if you want to just help out the cause, so we can get better equipment, better stuff. Get everything upgraded. You can go to our Patreon, patreon.com/youngliontv. Sign up and you become a member on there. And we got a lot of content. I promise you guys, we got stuff that we're working on that we're going to be putting up on Patreon only. So if you do become a member, you will have access to all those things, plus other perks that we have. You can go through those and
Coming out with an EP.
Coming out with an EP. You will get access to that EP for free first. And some behind the scenes stuff we've been working on, and we're gonna have more of that content going on. We're gonna be vlogging a little bit more with when we travel and things like that. So we're gonna be giving that stuff to you guys first on Patreon. So whoever's members, whoever wants to become a Young Lion and support, you can go on there. Also, the website, of course, jatan.com. All of our music is up there if you want to check it out, you want to stream it, or if you want to get the merch. The merch helps us out as well. You can just order it on there and get it sent to you. And we're working on some new merch too. We got some Young Lion merch that we're working on, and we got some new Jatan merch that we're working on. And, we're going to keep it moving. Also, if you want to just throw a little donation our way, you can hit up the Cash App. It's just $youngliontv. And, throw a little meat to the lions. And we use all of that stuff just to better what we're doing. So none of that stuff is for us to get paid. It's just to, support the cause. If you want stuff like this to keep growing and keep happening and us be able to bring it to you every week like we've been trying to, we want to be able to do it more than just once a week if we can, but that takes the support. So we appreciate you guys who are supporting, all of the young lions who are here right now. We love you guys. And just keep on believing with us. So back to what we were talking about. So where were we at?
Mask.
Well, I saw in that same meeting, they kept on cutting the meetings so nobody could ever talk about it because people weren't wearing a mask or weren't wearing it right. And it was like technicalities. And whoever was like the head of the council, which these people all get voted in, right? And that's why we got to be careful who we vote in, right? Because then you take that power, and they don't realize you actually get voted out too, right?
Right.
But some people, they don't need that power, right?
Yeah.
Because then it becomes self-righteous. So
Right.
now she feels like she has this power, and any little, you don't have it on right, it's not over your nose all the way. So now I'm canceling the meeting because it says right here that
In
we
the
have
guidelines.
Yeah.
That's the YouTube. The Google, that's their tactic, the Facebook
Right.
tactic.
Right,
It's like
right.
we put all these
And the
TOS,
community
yeah,
guidelines.
right, or our terms of service,
Right.
technicalities. If you break any of those, we can ban you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is where you're starting to get these people who rise up, and these are all the to me, it's like the modern day holier than thou, self-righteous Pharisees of
Yeah.
the Bible. You know what I mean? Picking everything apart because it's not really about what's true and what's good. It's about hiding behind what is fakely true and good.
Yeah.
But really just wanting to prove their own agenda and what's in their heart. That's a lot of times not. It's wicked. You
Yeah.
know? And then they're using their authority to push that on people.
Right.
And you're seeing that a lot in this country.
All right. So,
You're definitely seeing it in Canada right now.
Canada is crazy right now. We're gonna get to that in a little bit, but I got to go to what's new with Uncle Joe first. So this week in our installment of What's New with Uncle Joe, he did an interview with Lester Holt. Did you guys see any of these clips from this?
I did not. I did not.
You didn't see any of this. So he did a sit down with Lester Holt, and of course,
NBC, right? He's
yeah.
NBC.
yeah, it's on. Is it on NBC? Yeah,
I think
NBC.
Lester Holt is NBC.
So we're gonna play just a couple clips from this because there was a couple funny moments. One was, I think this one is, Lester Holt is pushing back on him about his comments about inflation when he said inflation is only temporary. You know what I mean?
Transitory.
So he pushes back a little bit, and watch how Uncle Joe handles it.
I think it was back in July, you said inflation was going to be temporary. I think a lot of Americans are wondering what your definition of temporary is.
Well, you're being a wise guy with me a little bit. I understand that's your job. But look, at the time, what happened was let's look at the reasons for the inflation. And the reason for the inflation is the supply chains were cut off, meaning that the products, for example, automobiles, the lack of computer chips to be able to build those automobiles so they could function, they need those computer chips. They were not available. So what happens? With the number of cars that were reduced, the new cars reduced, it made up at one point 1/3 the cost of inflation because the price of automobiles were up.
I think it was back in July, you said
All
inflation.
right, that's the clip right there. So, first of all, what was he talking about? Second of all, you see how he was like, "You're being a wise." Like that's how you know that these guys don't like being pushed at all, and they only go to the news sources that they think will never challenge them, because it's like even him challenging him at all,
A little minor bump.
yeah, you're being a wise guy with me. No, I'm
just
being a
being
journalist.
Well,
I'm being a journalist.
barely being a journalist.
Barely. I'm being a journalist with kid gloves.
And the only reason why I'm being a journalist is because your approval rating is very low right now.
Very
so
low.
I'm
Yeah.
actually dealing with the people.
Yeah.
Because right now I can.
Yeah.
Isn't that a legitimate question? Like,
It is a legitimate question.
food
It
is
should
so
be the
high.
answer.
Yeah, but even his reason was ridiculous. He's
Yeah.
going into the chips for the automobiles and the supply chain, but that has to do with China and the deals that we made with them, and then how they control all of that now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna play one more clip from this interview. I think, and I don't know if this is the right clip. Hopefully, it is. This is one where he just becomes stumbling Joe.
And there was no way we were ever going to unite.
Oh, so okay, so I'll set it up. This is the right clip. So he asked him about Afghanistan and how we were going to, and like what went wrong, basically. And if you watch the fuller clip, like Biden, he actually says, even though the intelligence agency said that they were briefed on the drawbacks and that he knew about what was going to happen if they pulled out that fast. And then in this interview, he literally says, "No one told me. No one told me." You know what I mean? So
That sound. You can't be the president
Right.
and say some stuff like
right,
that.
no one told me. But then he goes into trying to explain himself as well, and this is when he just falls apart.
There was no way we were ever going to unite Ukraine. I mean, excuse me, Iraq, Afghanistan.
Fucking mumbling, stuttering little.
Like he totally forgets what country they were talking about in the middle of it. Like we're literally talking about Afghanistan. He goes Ukraine, Iraq. I mean Afghanistan.
Being a wise guy
You're
with me.
being a wise guy.
I feel bad for that old man.
You're being a wise guy.
He's only the president.
Yeah, you made enough money, bruh. Go retire.
So now I want to show this article this is from CNN Politics, by the way. So this is just to piggyback off of what you were saying. Biden's approval rate is extremely low. And there's a CNN poll. I don't know if you guys saw this, but can you pull this up, John? CNN poll. Most Biden detractors say he's done nothing they like since becoming president. And they polled people from their audience.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're saying he's done
Super on their side.
nothing they like.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's why there's a pushback, like
Right.
from these guys that they're like, "Wait, why are you pushing back?"
Yeah. So if you look at the article, it says nearly 6 in 10 Americans disapprove of how Joe Biden is handling the presidency, with most of that group saying there were literally nothing Joe Biden has done since taking office that they approve of. The finding from a CNN poll conducted by SSRS in January and February highlights the entrenched politics driving the nation at the start of the modern year. And it goes on to, explain the poll or whatever, but you get it. So yeah, this is like,
And there's a few like that that's on the left side of things.
yeah,
that,
dude, his
has
approval
shown his
rating in the
approval rating.
aggregate
Yeah.
is below 40. It's like 39,
Yeah, I think
38.
38, I think.
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
Was the lowest.
Which is crazy.
Lena,
How are you?
Lena's got a message. She says, speaking of inflation, expect some higher priced avocados soon.
Oh, yeah.
U.S. suspended imports from Mexico until further notice.
Yep, I heard about that.
Well, that
some
sucks.
stuff.
I love my avocados.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was something I wanted to show, but I can't find it. Oh, I'll show that. Well, because it's kind of about. Yeah, let's show this. Just bring this tweet up. So this is from CNN. We're talking about CNN. It kind of goes along with it. This is how they try to spin things, right? Because they say public discontent with Americans' pandemic battered economy obscures the good news. Even after inflation, most of the country has been coming out ahead in analysis. So like they're trying to spin it like that all of this bad stuff about inflation is making people think that things are bad, but it's really good. Like you're just not seeing the good. If you go into the article and read it, y'all can read it if you want to and fine. It's really trying to like gaslight everyone into thinking that
You're not feeling
you're
what you think
only
you're feeling.
you're only focusing on the negative. You know what I mean?
I mean, there's some truth to that.
There
but just
is,
not the way
but-
they're saying it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There- I think we're being this stuff is happening for a reason. We're being shaken, I think, as a country, as a people, because when you give power over to something, to trust in something is to give power over to it,
Yeah.
right? Because you're saying, I'm not able to do it, you do it for me.
Right.
I'm not able to bear this burden, you do it for me. And I think slowly we've been doing that with the country.
Yeah.
As people giving it over.
And you
right?
know what's funny? And we talked about this before, is that conservatives are known for distrusting the government.
Mm-hmm.
For the longest time, and libertarians too. And their ideology is like, just leave me alone. Like small government, stay out of my business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think the Trump thing even turned conservatives and some libertarians into the big government people. Like it was almost like a weird switch around psyop that happened to people where it was like, oh, well, now that he's in office, yeah, give him all the power. Like do it for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They totally changed even their mentality
what
in
you're
a lot of ways. Where it was like, well, now we're good. Now we
Yeah.
can trust the government. You know what I mean?
And
I think it led a lot of people to be disappointed. You know?
right, because I think Trump was there to really just like block things from going so crazy.
Yeah, I agree.
But then, people, because of our state of trauma, right, up from the government. Because you think about it, like since we were kids, it was you can't trust the government.
Yeah.
So we've not been trusting the government for so long, and then it's
Right.
like, oh, this guy gets in who's
He's going to
not
save
a part
us.
of that.
He's
right?
going to save us.
He's
and
gonna
that's
save us.
Yeah, and it's like
he's
no,
not the savior either.
Nobody's going to get in there and save you.
Right.
That's not how it works.
It's about taking responsibility. We
Yep.
all have to take responsibility. When you give up stuff that you should be bearing, right?
Yeah.
This is what happens because people who are corrupt just become more corrupt.
Right.
You're putting in people that tell you they're going to do this and tell you they're going to do that. Like you're seeing it now. It's so amazing. Like it's kind of crazy. I was thinking about this today. I think how the government is supposed to serve you, right? The leaders are supposed to serve, and it's literally modeled after the Bible, right?
Right.
Jesus says, "The first shall be last," right? He says to serve those who are the greatest, the ones at the table, right? But he's saying you be the servants and not to be the ones at the table, right? The least, you have to be the least to be the greatest in my kingdom, right? So it's all about serving, but you're seeing the opposite of that. Like people who are being put in government, they're serving themselves. They're not serving the people.
No.
They're serving themselves.
because it's become a way to become successful and rich and famous now. It's not about being a public servant anymore. It's about
Right.
how can I get to the top and be powerful.
I would say more money than anything. It's
Money,
about
power,
money, and who I can help. That's a part of
yeah,
my circle,
right.
And we were talking. I think I was talking about this with you, like with Puerto Rico. I don't know if I was,
Yeah, we were talking about
Puerto Rico, like the how they're bringing in these rich.
Mm-hmm.
They're giving them incentives, like the gringos.
Yeah, was it Jordan who sent us that?
Yeah, I
shout
think
out
so.
to Jordan, our guitar player. He sent us an article about how some Puerto Ricans are protesting, like Logan Paul and some of these rich whites who are coming in there and buying up property because they're saying like gringos go home or whatever. But you know, it's just some of it is ignorance to economics and how like the incentives that Puerto Rico is putting in place to try to build up some of these areas that
got
don't have
devastated.
they have devastated or they're just impoverished.
Yeah.
So sometimes you need people with money to come in to create industry and create infrastructure so that you can build up your economy. You know what I mean? Like some people don't understand that. They're just like, no, we don't want these white people coming in here.
But on the other side, like it's not about them. It's about the people who are in charge.
Right.
It's about the gatekeepers.
Yeah.
And
if you have corrupt people in those positions, then that's when it becomes this corrupt system.
right, and that's what happened when the hurricane was it Maria?
I don't
think so.
remember.
That when Maria hit, the aftermath, like they tried to, Trump's not sending. No, there was stuff sent. It wasn't getting to
Right.
the people. It
Right.
was being
Wasn't
it was
sitting
being
in trailers,
hoarded, huh?
and then they were stealing it.
warehouse, I think.
yeah, they
in
were
warehouse.
hoarding it.
Hoarding all the resources.
They were all like mayors, the governor, like they were all hoarding it and giving it to the people they wanted to give it to. When they were supposed to be distributing it to the people, they weren't doing that. So people are thinking like, we're not getting no help. What's going on? But really, it's the corruption of all these little towns and the governments in Puerto Rico that was actually hoarding it for themselves and everybody they wanted to get it to.
Yeah. You know. All right, I'm going to play this clip from a comedian, Kyle Dunnigan. We played his stuff on here before. He's really funny. So he did this
wanted to
parody.
send you this.
You saw
I
this?
was- yeah.
Yo, he
Yeah, I
did.
saw
And,
this
and you
one
know
too.
what's funny about this to me? I was thinking about this when I watched it the first time. I'm like, yo, SNL, all of these late night shows that for 4 years straight did nothing but make fun of Trump, they don't have any jokes for Biden.
Right.
When
No,
it's
they
clear,
don't.
there's so much material there. So we're forced to go to people like this, like Kyle Dunnigan. His Instagram is just fire. All he does is make jokes and parody people, but he does it with the what's the face swap technology, so it makes it even more funny. And plus he's good at impersonations. But so you got to go. You're forced to find stuff like that, where people will actually make fun because these mainstream sources, they're so one sided, man. It's so ridiculous.
And it's better anyway sometimes when you go find
Yeah,
stuff.
because it's not hacky.
Yeah,
you know. So let's check out Kyle.
My fellow Jamaicans.
Why is it like GTA?
Let's start it over again. Can you start it up a little bit, Rage? So from the door, from the door.
My fellow Jamaicans, the nation is in crisis. The Decepticon variant Hobo 19 is still killing fat people. Inflation is destroying our fart jars, and now that Ukraine is being sexually raped. That is why I've asked Congress to order a full-scale attack on Joe Rogan. Not Joe Rogan, the Russian guy. The guy with the shirt. Pootie Tang, man. Bad dude. We gotta come together, man. Get this guy. He's got cranes. He's got all the cranes. We need for the better build back. The build back better. The better build back better plan, man. You say it 3 times fast, pal. You say it.
Al.
Guy over here. Anyway, let's start the show.
Yeah, that was so funny, man. Like I watched the first time I watched it, I was crying, dude. This is like
It was so good.
There's so much nuance in what he just did comedically.
Yeah.
Like
Just play the body clip back, and it's like,
right? Let's go back to the Lester Holt thing, because it's like the inflections in his voice when he goes down real soft, and he like loses his train of thought. Like he's like conjoining words together, and like concepts. Yeah, that was funny.
Being a wise guy.
We got a lot of stuff on
Being a
here.
wise guy.
Shout out to Carolyn Starr.
Hey.
How you doing?
You guys writing a lot. Donald Estrada.
Oh, I know
Well,
Donnie.
what up,
I know
Donnie?
Donnie ain't like that clip right there.
I know Donnie's gonna say he's doing homework and can't come in.
Yeah, come on that live stream, Donnie.
Carolyn said, "Help us, God help us. Kamala would be even worse."
Kamala.
Kamala.
Kamala. I don't think Kamala. I don't think that's gonna happen. It seems like they're distancing themselves from her. Like, how much do you even hear about her anymore?
Not at all.
Nothing. The last thing I
Yeah,
heard
but
was,
what? Joe's pretty old.
Yeah, but I mean, he got 4 years.
Who was
in him.
that you just showed?
Kyle Dunnigan. You can check him out on Instagram. Just Kyle Dunnigan on
Kyle
Instagram.
Dunnigan.
Yo, he does Bill Maher perfect. Like, his Bill Maher impersonation is so good. He does one where he does all the Kardashians and Caitlyn Jenner. Like, he does them all having a conversation, like a group FaceTime call with each other. It's so funny, yo.
You mean Bruce?
No, he does Caitlyn. He doesn't do Bruce. He does Caitlyn. That's what's funny. But yeah, he's hilarious.
See, George said Puerto Rico has been screwed since the Jones Act has been in place. Then the whole real estate incentives for high rollers. Investors is a whole other issue. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know the whole ins and outs, but I do know the corruption that's in Puerto Rico. It's crazy.
Yeah. All right, let's keep moving, guys. I just wanted to continue on with the Joe Rogan saga that we've been talking about every week because, like we said, he's the new Trump. He's the new target for the mainstream media. And I think one of the main reasons for that is that they always need something to get people enraged about in order to get their viewers. Because they're losing viewers faster than they can even think. You know, they're in turmoil, right? Especially CNN, Jeff Zucker being gone, and like all the scandals that they've been having. Like, how many pedophiles, how many sex allegations have been going on. So now this headline from CNN, which they ended up changing after like it went viral on Twitter because people were like trashing them. It got ratioed so bad, like one of the worst ratios I've ever seen. So they put this headline up: Joe Rogan's use of the N-word is another January 6th moment. And basically, the way they're trying to spin it, they're trying to attach people to, like, you know, the emotion of that moment. Yeah, like, you should be this upset about that. And then they swiftly changed the headline, which is something that they can do now. Like, you know, back when it was printed news, you know, you would have to be stuck with that. But now they can go back and change the headlines. So I wanted to throw this up there because people were tweeting out the hypocrisy, of course, because the news tried to spin the clip that went viral of Joe Biden that we showed last week. So, like, look at all these headlines. A clip of Joe Biden speaking in the Senate in 1985 has been taken out of context, fact checkers say. So now we care about context because the whole Joe Rogan clip was about context. Why did he use he wasn't calling anybody the word. He was using it in descriptions and quoting things, which is the same thing that Joe Biden was doing. So why all of a sudden do we care about context? And that wasn't the only one. It's all of these articles. Social media users twisted Joe Biden's words from the Senate Judiciary Committee hearing in 1985 by omitting their context. Okay? That's from Snopes. Washington Post fact checkers unraveling 3 manipulated videos about Joe Biden. Only thing that was manipulated about it was the same thing they did with Joe Rogan, was removing the context and only showing him saying the word. You know what I mean? So, again, it's the hypocrisy of it. I think there's one more. Yeah. Reuters. An edited clip from 1985 is being shared widely without context to appear like U.S. President Joe Biden used a racist word. Reuters Facts had earlier debunked this claim among several others in a fact check. Again, it's so blatant. If you can't see the blatant, bro, like, they only care about it when the narrative spins their way.
Right. And if it's not, they try to get it back to their way.
Get it back. Because it was so obvious. Like, how can you try to be mad at Joe Rogan when this clear clip has been around since 1985 of Joe Biden using the same word? If you can't use the word, you can't use the word. Right. Period. You know what I mean?
Did y'all watch that video James sent of Rashad Evans talking about Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
Is a black guy. He's a black guy, and he knows him because he's in the UFC.
Dude, did you ever see that clip that Crystal and Sagar posted from Breaking Points, where it was like someone went back and then compiled all of the things politically that Joe Rogan has said, like what his opinions are, and it was like, yeah, I'm like, I've never voted Republican in my life. You know, I believe in universal basic health care. Oh, Cornel West was my favorite interview ever. You know what I mean? Like all these things that were like showed what he really thinks about things.
Right.
Like his actual feelings, not just something taken out of context.
He grew up in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Like, and he holds to those liberal beliefs. A lot of them.
And spent a lot of time in Boston and, you know, liberal play. He lives in Austin now. You know what I mean? Like he's a liberal guy. He believes in universal basic income. He voted for Bernie Sanders. He was about to.
He's a Bernie dude.
Yeah, he loved Tulsi Gabbard. He was going to vote for her. He had Andrew Yang on. Like he had Bernie on this election as well. You know,
so he's not a right.
No, he's definitely not a right wing guy. Like he's just a dude who has different point of views on things. He does believe in gun rights.
Much power.
Yeah, that's what the problem is.
He has too much power, and he interviews people on both sides.
Yeah,
I would love to know who actually did that video.
Who put that together?
Well, that video has been around for about 10 years.
So they found that and
they dug it up. They paid.
Who did?
It's I think it was called Patriot Act, or it was some liberal like super PAC that donates to all Democrats.
After he started interviewing them doctors and the couple interviews that was happening the past 2 months, that was a wrap.
Was
a problem.
Robert Malone and the other doctor, what's his name?
Peter McCullough.
Peter McCullough, yeah. And then there was a couple other guys. There was a journalist that they had on there that was talking about, you know, the mainstream media. There was a bunch. He's had people on there that are going against the narrative.
Yeah, but that I know that's why they dug it up. I'm just saying, like, who was it?
Yeah, it was basically like a Lincoln Project type organization, but they're like. It's a known super PAC for the Democrats.
Yeah. So, I watched who's the dude who's like far left? He's a libertarian. He does a podcast. Jimmy Dore.
Yeah,
he broke it down.
They try to label him as alt-right now. Jimmy Dore.
Yeah, they try to label.
He's a freaking socialist.
He's
bro.
a socialist. He's a socialist.
But just because he says certain things that align with what conservatives think, he's alt-right.
Yeah, he broke it down. He that company, apparently there's 3 brothers that run it, but they get funding from the Democrats.
Yeah,
and it's straight up smear campaign.
They're paid to dig up information.
Yeah,
and they went to go find these videos and then spent a bunch of money to promote that post all over Twitter.
He showed it on one of his shows. The dude just kept on retweeting it,
but not only that, boosting it with money. Like they spent mad money to boost it so it would reach more people. You know what I mean? Because I think the first time it went up on Twitter years ago, it only got like 600 retweets. You know what I mean?
So I think I think people are starting to see like these tactics, these games they're playing. You know, these things they're doing. I mean, unless you don't want to see it. You know, some people just don't want to see it.
Yeah.
Some people want to come at Joe Rogan. You know, like the celebrities,
of course.
India Irie,
right? But that I think it's for India Irie, it's like this is a moment for me to be talked about.
Probably,
again. Like, you know what I'm saying?
And
that's why I brought it.
I'm sorry to cut
you off. Go ahead.
She's probably mad too because artists don't get paid that much.
Yeah,
you know.
I mean that's the other thing. Spotify is ripping artists off anyway.
Spotify took all that money that they get from streams or whatever and gave this guy mad money.
That was one of the main reasons why a lot of these artists were complaining is because Spotify makes so much money off of their music. Well, not her specifically, because how many streams is she getting? But like Spotify is they made all their money off of music subscriptions, and then they paid Joe Rogan, who's a podcaster, upwards over $100 million. We don't know the real figure, but something crazy so that they could bring him to the platform. So it's like you got this money to pay these people, but you can't pay the artists what they rightfully are owed. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, take your stuff off of there.
Exactly.
Well, who's the old dude? Neil
Young.
Yeah. So there's like some legal stuff where he tried to take his stuff off. Now his stuff is back on because of some contract or something like
right.
that.
Some of his songs had to be put back on because of, there's contractual things that are already in place where you can't just
remove everything they did.
Well, some of the songs he might not own the rights to. Or he did with a different company. Like, you know how they do.
Right.
Lena said, wait, are y'all familiar with Patrick Gentempo and the Vrield series? No, what is that? School us on it. Let us know. But speaking of tactics.
Did she try to rhyme anybody?
No, nobody came on there yet. Hey, guys, not yet, John. Let me get it right here. Boom, here we go. I'm sorry. Speaking of tactics, so I'm sure everyone has heard about this, the Durham report, which was dropped out there on Friday evening when they knew no one was going to be paying attention. The Durham report showed that tech execs were working with Clinton-tied lawyers spied on Trump Tower and the White House, and there's indictments being put in place. There's a bunch of people under investigation now. So basically what they're saying is allegedly that while he was running for president and then even after he became president, they paid some tech executives who had access to confidential information through the servers that they were using to spy on what they were doing and somehow make a link back to Russia in a way where it could make him look bad, so it could deflect from her email scandal, which then could cause this whole 2-year investigation. So now that's coming out. Because of the Durham report. That information just came out over the weekend.
So another example of Trump being right.
And that's what we're going to get to next. That's what we're going to get to next because everyone. This is a tweet. I'll just show this real quick. So this is a tweet from Byron York, and he breaks it down really really well. If you go to Twitter and look for this tweet, it says here in 4 tweets are all 13 pages of John Durham's new findings. That's getting a lot of attention, and it's only getting attention from people that care because all of the main news outlets they ain't talking about it. Okay, because they don't.
Maddow, deflected it. What'd she say? Another Trumpian.
Oh yeah.
Another Trumpian.
But this has nothing to do with Trump. This is an independent investigation.
Yeah.
This is an independent investigation. But anyway, so we're gonna go back to an interview that he did on 60 Minutes with Leslie Stahl.
60 Minutes thing.
As you were talking, I'm reminded by this.
Yeah.
So the biggest scandal was when they spied on my campaign. They spied on my campaign.
Well, there's no real evidence of that.
Of course there is.
No.
It's all over the place. Leslie,
Sir,
they spied on my campaign and they got caught.
Can I say something? Sure. This is 60 Minutes, and we can't put on things we can't verify.
You won't put it on because it's bad for Biden.
We can't put on things we can't verify.
Leslie, they spied on my campaign.
Well, we can't verify
It's been totally
that.
verified.
No.
I just want to point out the difference between this and the Biden interviews they do. I just want to point it out.
Right.
Like, how many times have we seen him go back and forth like this with journalists?
All the time.
All the time, where they will be like, "Oh, we can't. No, you can't say that." And it's like, wait a minute. But again, it's one of those times where it's like, wait a minute. I guess he was right.
Yeah.
I don't get like how you can verify something like the news. Something like 60 Minutes. They'll verify something from an unnamed source or somebody who doesn't want to be,
an anonymous source that they use all the time, or they just don't verify it.
Yeah,
just like we were just talking about Russia, the whole Russia investigation, the whole P-tape thing, the whole Putin's puppet, the whole none of that was verified.
It was all made up.
But none of it. You never saw a headline from CNN or any of these outlets that said allegedly. They just said, a source says. They put that at the end. Trump P-tape. Strippers, Russia, a source says. You know what I mean?
Anonymous source.
A source says. That's what they put at the end because that legally keeps them from getting in trouble. But they never. But you can see the wording of it. You know what I mean?
I remember working with Ray. So you like a guy who peed? He said that to me.
You like a guy who got peed on?
You like a guy who got peed on? Like, bro, really?
You should have been like, you listen to R. Kelly, right? You know what he do. So then someone else tweeted out this. Remember when Donald Trump got locked out of his Twitter account until he deleted this video? Now this happened when he was the president. Okay, Twitter locked him out of his account until he deleted this video. So we go play it real quick.
Trump will not be president. Highly critical, biased text messages between senior FBI officials Peter Strzok and Lisa Page.
There will be no question about the outcome of this election.
And she got ahead of herself. This utterly stunned this campaign.
Head home. You should get some sleep. We'll have more to say tomorrow.
Our constitutional democracy enshrines the peaceful transfer of power.
The peaceful transition of power is one of the hallmarks of our democracy. We want to do everything we can to help you succeed, because if you succeed, then the country succeeds.
These declassified documents that were just released.
Officials in the Obama administration were asking for the identities to be unmasked of Americans.
Unmasking of aides and staffers of the incoming president.
The basic charge, political spying.
To disrupt the peaceful transfer of power.
Unmasking of American citizens. It could be a real problem.
Why is it that the unmasking of Flynn somehow ended up in the pages of the Washington Post?
I know nothing about those moves to investigate Michael Flynn.
The vice president said that yesterday, and then the last name on this
I'm gonna say that Joe Biden probably wasn't lying. He probably just forgot.
list is Joe Biden.
The Obama administration was bitter. They wanted to do everything they could to undermine the incoming Trump administration.
Really designed to sabotage and really upend the new administration.
An outgoing president and a vice president and a Washington Post columnist
Crystal
and the
Sagar.
FBI setting up an incoming administration. Wow, that's a real conspiracy, and nobody wants to talk about it.
So he tweeted that clip of the Obamagate documentary, and got locked out of his Twitter account for doing that. But now again, it seems as though allegedly there's some evidence.
It's all coming out.
To what was going on, and that he wasn't crazy. Because how much did the news try to, he's crazy, he's just paranoid. Should someone this paranoid be the president? Right. Like you have these panels and it's 10 people on the screen on MSNBC all going in on about how he's delusional and
25th Amendment.
25th Amendment due to his he might be what was the word they were trying to use? His mental health. Yeah.
But we got this president.
That's what's so funny about it.
They can't put sentences together.
He forgets he's talking about Afghanistan in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Don Lemon called for. Did he make fun of Trump? We played it on the podcast.
We played it on here when they showed about the cognitive test that he did. And
Trump
Don Lemon
passed it with flying colors.
Right, and he was bragging about passing it, which is what Trump does.
Yeah.
It's so dumb. Like he's bragging about passing this mental acuity test. Yeah. But so Don Lemon is making fun of him for bragging about it while he fails it on the news.
And Cuomo made fun of him. Like, bro, you don't know what a giraffe is or something like that.
I think it was a rhinoceros or something. He called it an elephant, I think. I think it was something like that. All right, we got anybody in the chat chiming in? Yeah. So Lena says, sure. So VReal is basically an email subscription to all the information that big pharma and organizations like the CDC and the WHO don't want to get out about the pandemic, truth about the vaxes, COVID, and several doctors, scientists, and others who they've been trying to silence, telling all. Wow, I didn't hear about this. Patrick and Tempo puts together live streams of the chat keeps moving of interviews and Zoom meetings where they go over all the lies and misleading information that's been put out and what to look for and expect in the near future. You can actually find him on Facebook, I believe. Okay, cool. Thank you. We're gonna have to look into that. Maybe find some stuff posted up. But yeah, there's been a lot of what they deem misinformation. And then this goes back to the Joe Rogan thing, because Joe Rogan did that video where he was talking about the problem with them canceling things for what quote unquote misinformation is that you can say something like like Trump tweeting that video and then getting locked out of his account until he deletes it because it's misinformation, quote unquote. But then we find out that it wasn't misinformation. Right. So why should you have the right to do that? Like, who's going to be the arbiter of what is misinformation or not before it's all been investigated? You can't determine something is misinformation if we've never investigated it.
Yeah. And even that term there's no boundaries on it.
Yeah.
So you can label anything misinformation.
It's up to the opinion of the people who want to be in power.
Yep. Control the voices.
Yeah. The ACLU tweeted this the other day, just going on along those same lines. Breaking news. The newly declassified documents reveal that the CIA has been secretly conducting massive surveillance programs that capture Americans' private information. And then, there's a bunch of articles about it. But yeah, so now it's being... Whoa! Okay, lost the mic there. So now it's being declassified that, all of the conspiracy theorists the other way. Turn it the other way. Yep, and then bring it on down. You know why? Because there's no base, there's no weight on that one. Yeah, we got to put the weight back on that one. Yeah, so basically, again, speaking along the same lines, this is something that if you talked about this, a couple years ago, you were a tinfoil hat wearer. If you talk about the CIA and the government spying on us and getting people's private information, they're like, oh, you're crazy. Like, wow,
Our government wouldn't do that.
Right, but now it's being declassified, and we're all just supposed to just think it's normal.
Wilmer said, R.I.P. Mike.
Nah, the mic's still good. Check it.
Check.
Them things is heavy duty, boy. Heavy duty.
Naomi said, good evening, family.
What's up, Naomi? Thank you for checking in. Make sure you hit that share button, hit the like button. Thank you.
Wilmer also said, I am not darkness. I am light. I am Batman.
Wilmer, try that rendezvous link this week. Batman would have an iPhone. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's look at this tweet from Time Magazine, or Time, the company. A new CDC study. Ready for this?
Yep.
New CDC study finds that COVID-19 boosters wane in effectiveness by the 4th month.
Oh.
Yeah, a new study.
I didn't know that.
By the CDC. Showing that the boosters wane in effectiveness by the 4th month. So are they telling us that every 4 months you're going to need a new booster? Is that what they're trying to say?
Roundabout way of saying it?
Yeah.
Joe.
4 months.
I mean, at this point, they have to just be like, all right, we give up. Like, there's no one's going to do this.
Yeah.
Except for the extremely brainwashed. There's few. There's some.
People.
There's some.
Yeah.
There's some that will spend. That will
very anxious.
Yeah.
Controlling women / wives, mothers.
Right.
When you said that, Rachel's like, dang.
No. I'm not talking about all women. I'm saying,
hold on.
I'm saying the anxious women that control their husbands.
Yes.
Right?
Anxious men, too.
Yeah, there's some.
Yeah, but...
Beta.
But they usually just go along with their wives, right?
I think older people too. Like, I've seen a large population of older people who really feel like, oh, okay, well, if I have like 1 or 2 outstanding health things, like, let me just get these boosters because I'm not trying to die tomorrow.
That's
so,
true.
You know.
And I think maybe for like the very old or like the very compromised, immunocompromised, very obese, like maybe there is something to be said about
that's
like,
who it's for.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's like, does it even, like, I don't know.
Every 4 months though?
Yeah,
like,
every 4 months.
That's
you
a lot, man.
You play that, you get that clip, O'Keefe clip? It has
yes.
to do with that.
It has to do with that? Okay, let me play it.
Not 3 months, but he's pretty much saying every year.
All right, let me find it because I try to keep it all in order. Should be right by this because oh yeah, it was.
There you go.
Cool. All right, so Stan sent me this clip, Project Veritas. the demonized news outlet that is the only ones doing real journalism anymore.
Real journalism.
So don't be fooled by the propaganda news that they put out about James O'Keefe and Project Veritas, because these dudes are doing undercover investigation and they're breaking a lot of stories about these CEOs, these companies, these organizations, and showing you what they really think. And how they do it is they get, and a lot of times it's young, pretty women that they get to infiltrate these companies, and they'll work there. I remember like with the Planned Parenthood thing, like someone was working there for like 2 years, yo, and then like worked their way into a relationship with the one of the CEOs, you know what I mean? So they'll do stuff like that, and then when they go on dates with them, that's when they start talking, you know. So
get a little hottie.
And from the looks of this, the way this is looking right here,
you got the wine.
You see the wine glass, and it's probably a little pretty young thing, and he's like, I'm gonna tell her, you know, how much of a boss I am, you know what I mean? They don't realize. Gotcha. All right, let's check it out.
So real quick, Wilmer, the link is pinned, so it's the.
It should be the only comment from Jatan.
Yeah, at the pin at the bottom. Hopefully it works.
So you have to get an annual shot. I mean, it hasn't been formally announced yet. So they don't want to rile everyone up. The drug companies, the food companies.
Wow. So he said you're gonna have to get an annual shot. It hasn't been announced yet because they don't want to rile everybody up.
Yep, and that was January 21st.
So that sounds about right. So they're gonna say it wanes at 4 months. So then it'll still be a little bit of effective, but you know, for the next 6 months, it's gonna be tapering off. It's gonna be tapering off there a little bit, you know. So you're gonna need to recharge the mitzvah, if you will. Recharge the mitzvah, boy. That was a Curb Your Enthusiasm joke. If you guys never seen that show, but anyways, keep going.
The vaccine companies, they pay us hundreds of millions of dollars a year to hire and keep the reviewers to approve their products. If they can,
it's so hilarious to me how gullible these dudes are. Like they get into like these positions with these girls, and they can't wait to tell them how great. It's like they're bragging about how much power they have.
It's pride. Yeah. It's pride because people wanna flaunt.
Right.
How can I?
But then when these videos come out, you see them running and hiding, boy. Right. Running and hiding.
It's manipulated.
So he's bragging about how they're making billions of dollars because of this. Basically, people being forced to do this medical procedure. So this guy, let's just say who he is if you're just listening. Christopher,
not real if you can't tell nobody.
Right. You have to be able to brag about it. Like, what's the good of the power if you can't use it, right? So if I can't use it to impress this young thing. So this guy is Christopher Cole. He's an FDA executive officer of Countermeasures Initiative. And he is spilling his guts to an undercover journalist.
get every person required at an annual vaccine. That is a recurring return of money.
Annual. I thought he said anal.
So we're gonna be moving into the anal vaccines.
We talked to China. They were doing the anal swab.
Right. China was doing the anal swab, weren't they? Yeah. Well, we want this to be an inclusive vaccine, so we're gonna go with the anal injection. But so he's basically saying this is recurring money for us. Like, this is guaranteed money every year.
Right.
Like, something that we have always known.
Their company.
So how do you know it's already
So real quick. This is money for the FDA.
Yeah.
How is this not a conflict of
It
interest?
is a
Which has
conflict of
always
interest,
been a conflict of interest with the FDA,
Right.
but nobody
We got Wilmer.
pays attention to
Well,
it.
I heard him.
Food and Drug Administration. FDA.
What's up, brother?
Yo. What's up?
Oh, there you
I'm gonna fix that.
Yeah.
See, Batman made his appearance. I told you guys.
There you go. Batman figured out his utility belt this week.
Now it wants to work. I opened it up on Google browser. It wasn't working last time.
There you go. Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate you jumping in there.
Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. So you see what we're talking about right now, right?
No, I closed my eyes. I was in the middle of the transition of hearing you guys were talking about.
So we're watching a Project Veritas video where an FDA executive is basically telling
on himself
about how all of this vaccine stuff is just guaranteed money. And and of course, a lot of times what they'll do is the FDA will put out a statement saying that was just him bragging about something because he wanted to look powerful. Like that's what they do a lot of times.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But it's obvious that these people, they tell on themselves. That's what they're doing. So we're gonna keep this playing.
Going into their company.
So how do you know it's already getting approved?
Well, they're not going to. Just from everything I've heard, they're not going to not approve it.
Meet Christopher Cole, an executive.
So he was talking about the toddler vaccine at that point. They're not going to not approve it. Yeah.
Officer at the FDA with over 20 years' experience who claims to be directly involved in the approval process of the various COVID vaccines.
I think what's going to happen is it's going to be a gradual thing. Schools are going to mandate it.
Why do they need the third one?
Well, the same reason that you or I would need the third one. So the 3 will bolster your system. And then there will be an annual, eventually an annual, just like the flu shot.
For the toddlers?
Well, for everyone.
Okay, so the toddlers too then. We'll have to get it
Probably.
Okay.
I don't completely agree with the process.
What do you mean you don't agree with the process?
Well, I mean, they don't have all the tests aren't there. So I agree with the thing that it is important to.
What? If I was him, though, like
you wouldn't be skeptical, right?
I would be like, "Yo, why you asking all these questions?"
but what he's thinking about already, he's blinded by the girl. He's blinded by her fake interests. You know what I mean? Like you see it happen to dudes all the time. Like he's not even.
You got to think like she's smart, probably, and she's intuitive, so she's asking questions. It's not, and she wants to know.
She's probably already established a relationship with him and a rapport with him through the company. You know what I'm saying?
Listen to this, like it's like she's trying to get him.
But that's because because you're coming from, you already know. But think about it. How do people get catfish for years? You know what I'm saying? It's because like there's a part of you that wants to believe that this person is interested in you. Like when you watch the show Catfish on MTV, right? From our perspective, it's always like, yo, how could you fall for this?
Right.
But when you're in it, your desire to be wanted by this person that you feel like, is out of your league in a sense, it overrides those cautionary vibes or the
your spidey
sense.
Well, that's the weakness.
Yeah.
You're open because of your vulnerability. Right. And you're vulnerable because you're compromised.
Yeah.
Right.
You're led by your desire at that point.
Right. And you can see he's even like, they're not gonna, like he's playing with words a little bit too.
Right.
Like as he's answering.
Because he wants to have the answer too.
But he also doesn't want to say too much, so he's like,
that's what I
he's
mean.
dancing around things a little bit, just so he thinks he's protecting himself in a certain way.
Trouble.
And he's also drinking, right?
Yes, exactly. That's part of it too.
Right there, that's gonna expose his heart.
You lower them inhibitions. Yeah, that is a great point. There's a lot of wine glasses on that table, and a big bottle right there looks half drunk already. So he's spilling his guts.
A lot of spirits up in that glass.
So he's talking about this becoming just an annual shot like the flu shot.
Yeah. For everybody.
Even toddlers, and that schools are going to mandate this.
Right.
I don't know if that. Wow. I don't know if I think that. I don't think that's going to happen, man.
I mean, if it does, we're going to have a fight on our hands.
Yeah.
And this is what people have to start getting ready for. Like
war.
There's a lot. Yeah. There's a lot that's going to happen that you can't be shocked by, and you're going to have to put your foot down. It might cause some jail time. It might cause some things, But in the end, if you trust in God, He'll work it all out. So,
yeah, it's going to get real, as they say in these streets,
like in Canada.
Yeah, Canada is getting real.
Yeah, man.
We're gonna go to that next.
Inoculate them, but you can't provide the parent as much a surety as you normally want to. It's an EUA for all age groups, all designations, and then you have to get approved by specific age groups based on the study.
Do you think that's really?
So I just want to point out for those that don't know, who haven't been watching and haven't been following, what he's talking about. EUA is emergency use authorization, which is what had to be approved to get these vaccines to even be able to use.
Yeah.
Because in a normal situation, the vaccines have to go through the double-blind placebo testing and all that thing, which takes years. So they knew that they weren't going to be able to wait that long because of the pandemic. So they created this emergency use authorization thing, which which is a loophole where they can get this thing pushed through. But the only way you can get that pushed through is if there's no other treatments that are available to be used, which is why they have to deny any use of other treatments that we know now through other studies and other doctors have been useful.
And cancel anybody who says anything about using them.
Exactly. Because if
Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan is and Robert Malone and Peter McCullough and all of any doctor.
Any frontline doctor.
Yeah.
But we'll just say Joe Rogan because he's giving them platforms.
Right. But even Eric Weinstein, he had them on.
Yeah.
He had them on before Joe did, and he got canceled. You know, so it's there's a lot of things at play here. There's a lot of things that they like when people say, well, why would they do that? Because they have to in order to get people to accept certain things.
Right. So what you see beyond all this is the biggest factor is money and power.
Right.
I would say money more than power, but you need the power to get the money. You need the money to get the power. Like it kind of plays on, you know, you play on each other.
And I think it's
they're
also
they're partners.
It's also opportunity to push through certain agendas that they knew would take a lot more baby steps. Like this is an opportunity. So you see a window open and you can ram through things that you knew you would take more time.
But that's all because
like the play on words, ram.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But it's the wrong type. You know, it's the wrong.
Yeah.
It's the devil ramming things through. You know. But we're gonna talk about that a little bit later too. But it's a way because I got a couple clips from Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum where he's basically praising Xi Jinping and China and the way that they've been moving, like blatantly saying that they're the model. You know what I mean? And also someone else talking about how the elites are not trusted by the public, but they all trust each other. Like it's very weird and strange stuff. And they're talking about, you know, their plan is to use this pandemic as a moment to change the whole seize power and change the whole economic structure of the world. Yeah. So it's an opportunity, is what I'm saying. Also,
but it all has to do with when you take away power and you take away the money from people, you leave them in poverty. Like when you read the Bible, everything, the injustices and everything that happened in Israel and why Judah was literally kicked out of Israel, why Israel, the northern kingdom, was kicked out was because they tried to steal away from the people, from the vulnerable, from the poor. They tried to steal away property. They tried to steal away whatever they could. They tried to take away power, right? They enslaved them. They tricked them out of their properties, their inheritance. So you see this, why? So they could gain more power, so they could gain more money. And we're seeing the same thing.
Yep, that's what it's about. Money.
Yeah. Government wants to replace God.
Yep. What's up, Wilmer? What do you think? While we're waiting
that
for
is
Jamie.
really good. That is really good. You're sharing. God had given me a prophetic word the other day, and in it, in the beginning of the word, I kept saying swift, swift, swift. And I don't know what swift was. I was just speaking to the brother Christ a moment ago. He's all about cryptocurrency and everything. He tells me what swift is. It has to do with the swiping of cards. The Swift is a company that and in the prophetic word, God talks about gold and silver and the replacement of the economy. So I just find that very interesting, you know, that there's a change that's happening. We're getting ready to see a great change, and we got to adapt to the change that, you know, with the wisdom of God, obviously, you know, not just jumping into things without wisdom, right? Bible says zeal without knowledge is not good. And he who runs a lot makes a lot of mistakes. So just having that wisdom about and learning of how to adapt to the situation and change with the environment.
Yeah, that is right in line with what we've been saying on here before about, because we talk about the Great Reset that they're planning and how a lot of people are in fear of what that means, but we also know that there needs to be a reset, but in the way God sees it happening. You know what I mean? So it's about taking what they're doing and turning it back to what God wants. You know what I mean?
Like realize what they're doing and how they're trying to shift stuff.
Yeah.
The words they're using, and just realize it, but don't focus on it or get trapped in that emotion that you're feeling.
Well, I think it's like with Ram, like the enemy's at the gate, right? The enemy's at the gate and he's trying to get in. You can't. How can you not focus on that?
Yeah, you have to.
Right? When it's, but my point is that how do you not focus on that? Is you focus on God. You focus on Jesus. He has to become your focus. He has to become your trust. Like, this is when it starts getting real. This is when the religion you have has to turn into actually a relationship. You know what I mean? Because your religion ain't going to save you.
Right.
But God is going to save you.
Yeah.
That's when it starts to become real. Like, oh, I really need Jesus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I think in this, like you see how much the name of Jesus is like just totally
dismissed.
There's no fear on that name.
Right.
And we talked about that. You're going to respect my name, right? Put some respect on my name.
Some respect on my name. Respect.
Who was that? Baby? Yeah. So I think like this is the era of put some respect on my name.
Right.
Like Jesus, you're not going to be able to do the things that you used to do. You watch all these movies and it's Jesus, crap, Jesus. Like people using it as a curse. Why do you think that is? So much where it just becomes regular,
Yeah.
Do you have that clip?
Which one?
With the comedian.
Oh, the one she fell?
Yeah.
Oh, did you send that to me?
No, I thought you were gonna get it. I told you.
Oh man, I forgot. I
You
forgot.
guys played it last time. I remember.
I was
you
gonna
guys
say I
played it
thought we
last
played
time.
it last week. Yeah.
No, we didn't.
No,
we
we
never
didn't.
did.
Yes, you did.
But I do have it. I'm gonna get it right now. Keep talking.
You shared sorry, Jacob. You shared it with me and
Yeah,
Tim.
I shared it with you guys. But there's been stuff happening while you're looking for that. There's been stuff happening that has kind of like shown God's not playing no more. And people are being checked for little things where you're kind of destroying what God is doing or disrespecting the name of God.
You ain't gonna mock me.
And his power, right? God won't be mocked. So I'm gonna send this to you too, Jamie. Okay. This is a picture of the George Floyd mural.
Yeah.
I'll send that to you.
We were gonna play that with it.
Yeah. So there's been a couple things happening, in the media that people have been getting checked. Stuff has happened even in Meta. Meta lost $230 billion in one day. Their stocks went down. It was like a record. I think it was last week. So, and these people are basically throwing up their fist at God, doing whatever they want. And I think there's a check God is saying, you're gonna respect me. I think that we're coming into an era of like honor and respect towards God, where you're starting to really, the fear of the Lord is really gonna start to become a thing.
Real quick, Lena said, agreed. I've been waiting on it, hoping for this divine reset since 2020. Yeah, that's facts. She says, so it's annual like the flu shot. How are they gonna disperse that? Are they gonna say it's safe to get them together on the same day? That's true. One in 1 month, one in the other month. How are they going to push 2 annual mandatory shots?
I think they're already saying you can get them at the same time. The
Yeah.
flu shot and the COVID shot.
Well, isn't that what we about to show right now? Wilmer dropped it. Batman dropped his tools.
That was the of God. I'm telling you.
Batman
God ain't
dropped
playing
his tools. Where is it? Is this it? Oh no, this is her. Oh, okay, I sent the wrong one. That was the TMZ.
It might be.
That was the
bottom.
one. TMZ.
Huh?
That was the
What,
one.
is
TMZ.
it on? Is it on there?
Well, it was TMZ that was sent.
No, that's
Look, I'm
that's
going
her.
up. How do you guys do that?
I think that's the one right there.
Oh, okay.
That's it. Yeah.
All right, cool. So you know, this is what we're talking about. So she's making a joke, you'll see, about how many shots she got,
Right.
how vaxxed she is, and then goes into literally, my God, it's just funny. It's not funny, but it's interesting
Right.
to the point where even like bunch of people who are atheists were on Twitter like, this guy wasn't playing with this one. Like, so let's just play it a little bit.
Trigger warning. Yeah, I don't mean to brag. I don't care, but I want you to know, double vaxxed, booster, flu shot, and I'm going to be honest, I have the shingle shot too. And I still get my period. What? Yes. Traveled, went to Mexico twice, did shows, meet and greets, never got COVID. Clearly, Jesus loves me the most. Seriously. So nice. So nice.
Boom. Somebody wants.
Oh man, hold up, Rachel missed it. Rachel missed it. You guys see, I gotta see your reaction. So as soon as she says, "Clearly Jesus loves me the most," watch what happens.
So nice. So nice.
Boom. Somebody wants.
Yeah. So people thought this was a joke.
People
at
thought
first.
that was part of the joke.
Right.
That's why the audience is laughing, because she literally, as she says, talks about all these things that she did to her body and that she's still fine. So clearly Jesus loves me the most. She immediately loses her balance and falls over. Everyone thinks, oh, that's got to be part of the joke, because it's too ironic to not be. But no, she fractured her skull because she passed out, ended up in the hospital. They had to cancel her show. She had another show after this one. They had to cancel it. And so a lot of people were on Twitter just like, yo.
Yeah, the timing is too perfect.
Yeah. So, that's going into what you were saying about, God is not mocked.
Didn't she put out a video after?
She did. It's right here, actually.
So I'm in the emergency room. I look weird. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I passed out on stage. I got up, I did one joke, and I felt so dizzy. You can see my eye. I fell on my eye. Oh my God. I cannot believe this happened. I feel so terrible that they had to tell everyone to leave and then cancel the second show at Tempe. I will be back. I've never ever fainted in my life.
Yeah.
So I will say, God is so, to me, God is so good that he allows us to, make mistakes, kind of check us a little bit, humble us a little bit, so we can recognize who he is.
Right.
And that's what it's about. But certain things he just destroys, like that.
Yeah.
Like that mural.
Yeah. So
you got that?
So pull this up right now, John, when you get a chance. So I brought this up because actually Tim Pool mentioned it.
Crazy.
And Tim Pool is one of the people that he's an agnostic.
Yeah, he used to be just straight atheist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was one of the people that was like, yo, there's got to be God or something, because how do you explain this? And then he's the one that brought up this situation, which I remember when this happened, that there was a George Floyd mural. Where was this at? Anybody remember?
Ohio.
In Ohio, yeah. And you can see him there with the crown on his head and just straight up idolatry for George Floyd. You know how people have been.
I think that's the issue, the crown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how people are, well, you were just about to say it, right?
Yeah, how people are idolizing this person or placing them in a seat of authority that God never
It's a terrible,
wanted.
terrible crown, by the way.
Yeah.
Like what he did, I mean, what happened to him
was tragic.
Was obviously, but
yeah.
But you don't, glorify something or someone who basically was doing all the wrong things. So it's not like he just, was living his life great and then this happened to him. No.
Yeah.
He was not. He was doing a lot of stuff, and this happened to him.
He didn't deserve it, but
he didn't deserve it.
They used him,
So anyway, let's get to the point of why we're showing this. So basically, I don't know if anyone knows about the story. This is what the mural looked like. I think this was last year. So one day, I remember seeing it in the news, the side of this building on a clear day with no clouds in the sky was struck by lightning. And only in the spot where that mural was. And literally, like, they showed the weather reports, like it was a clear day.
Yeah.
And
there's poles all around.
Yeah,
there's higher things.
Usually, they were saying buildings don't get struck on the side face of a wall. Like, it's usually the top of the building or like a steeple or something. So it was just an unexplainable event.
Yeah.
So of course everybody was on Twitter like, "Yo, God was like, oh heck no!" Like, but so Tim Pool was bringing that up to like say like, when things like this happen, it's hard to deny that there's a God. You know what I mean?
And in the prophetic world, like Wilmer being a prophet, what's been prophesied over the last year is like how the fear of the Lord is being restored, in the world. So,
and God is going to start in 2020 to 2030. It's going to be a decade of exposure, where the light of God is going to expose many things. We'll see it at a greater rate. And one of the things God gave me for 2020 was it was a year of the undeniable, that God was going to make himself known. And in the video, when I did the work 2020, like this, God going to do something when he's going to leave everybody like this. That was a year that everything was shut down. Everybody was still. He was God, and he brought us back to the place of worship, because 2020 has to do with war and worship. He was preparing us, for a place, going back to the place of worship and in spirit and truth. And he said that this year is going to be 2022 in a way, 2020 in
2020 times
ways.
2.
Yes, and he's going to make himself undeniable. This year we're seeing it as well. We're going to see it more. There's more stuff that's going to happen. Even as I'm speaking, I just feel his presence.
And you know what, Wilmer? When you did that, when you said God showed you that 2020 was going to be like this, think about it. Who were the main ones that mouths were shut in 2020? It was the pastors. It was the churches, because they had to shut their doors.
Yeah.
And they
were, the ones who complied.
The ones who complied.
Right.
But it showed you where their faith was. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And even in terms of like 2022, there's 2 kings that reigned for 22 years. And they both they're literally almost the same kings in terms of their wickedness.
Right.
And it was the northern kingdom. It was the first king of the northern kingdom, which was Jeroboam, reigned for 22 years. And he was connected to the dogs, right? And dogs are like, it's just like the wolves in sheep's clothing. Like, they devour. They're like kind of like lions, but in a whole different way. They devour, right? But they devour the flesh.
Yeah.
So he had a prophecy that was kind of in that line. But Ahab was the other one, and God said to him in a prophecy that he was worse than Jeroboam, right? And he reigned for 22 years. So both of these, and there was a shift, like they got taken out of their authority, right? They got taken out of their place of authority. So maybe there's some stuff going on now where
people have to be unseated and new people have to,
right.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. All right, so let's move on from the Project Veritas thing. Let's go into the Canada stuff, because what's happening there is crazy. Have you guys been following this at all? Like, so you guys know that the Give Send Go company that we were telling people to use instead of GoFundMe, because GoFundMe was trash. So Give Send Go raised about $10 million, and then they put a freeze on that. Not only did they put a freeze on that, did you hear about them getting hacked?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna show this tweet real quick. Pull this up, John. Give, Send, Go is now frozen. Attention, Give, Send, Go grifters and patriots. The Canadian government has been informed that you that the money you assholes raised to fund an insurrection is frozen. So basically, some hackers hacked the whole page, and when you went to their website, it was sending you to like a Disney video of Frozen, and then the message would come up, so you couldn't donate to them anymore. No one could access the money.
Yeah, that's for like a day, right?
And it said grifters and hatriots.
Oh, hatriots! I didn't even see that. Yeah. So clearly, a lot of people are like, was the government behind this? You know, or the U.S. said that they would do anything to aid. Like, was the U.S. behind it? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It became this whole thing. Like, how did they? You know, how did this happen? Mm-hmm. But then we have from the government of Canada.
First,
let's
we
play
are
this.
broadening the scope of Canada's anti-money laundering and terrorist financing rules so that they cover crowdfunding platforms.
We're just going to stop it right there real quick. So they expanded the scope of their money laundering laws to include crowdfunding sites for just so that they could stop people from getting this money.
Right.
Stop the truckers from getting.
But they called them terrorists.
No,
is that what she just said?
They're using
that
as like we were showing last week on the podcast. Once they can start classifying certain actions as terrorism, remember the White House just passed that one act where they were talking about like it was coming at freedom of speech, where they were saying like anything that falls under these guidelines can be considered terroristic acts.
Right.
It's the same type of thing.
Mm-hmm. They're widening the scope.
Yeah.
So
change the definition.
Yeah, it changes the definition.
So all they have to do is say what you're doing falls under this, and now we can approach it with these repercussions.
Right.
Because they don't know what to do. They can't do anything to these people.
Misinformation.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
But-
that's misinformation. So now we can label it and go after you.
Yeah, but what it does is that it starts to show what they really mean.
Yep.
See, because when they widen the definition now, it's like, okay, this is what they're really intending to do.
Yep.
So it gives you a better understanding for people who will actually want to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Which is, it's good, and I mean, it's bad, but it's good in a way because you see what they're really doing.
Yeah.
Right? And then you can fight against it. Because either you lay down and take it, or you stand up and you start speaking against it.
Right. Which is what these people are doing.
Yeah.
But you see how they're trying to come at them with everything they can.
Everything, yeah. Sort of like what they did with the vaccine definition.
Exactly. Right.
Shout out to Elizabeth.
What's up, Elizabeth? What's up?
Okay.
Hit that share button, hit that like button, please. Thank you.
Payment service providers they use. These changes cover all forms of transactions, including digital assets, such as cryptocurrency.
So that's the other thing, is that people were saying, well, why are you using these sites? You should find a way to use Bitcoin or some type of cryptocurrency so that they can't.
They did raise money on it.
They did, but now they're trying to come after that as well.
Yep.
You know, so let's keep going. It's just so like crazy
That's
that
how
you
you
see.
know you're at war.
Yeah.
What did they cut off?
The illegal blockade
Supplies.
highlighted the fact that crowdfunding platforms and some of the payment service providers they use are not fully captured under the Proceeds of Crime and Terrorist Financing Act. Our banks and financial institutions are already obligated to report to the Financial Transactions and Reports Analysis Centre of Canada, or FINTRAC. As of today, all crowdfunding platforms and the payment service providers they use must register with FINTRAC, and they must report large and suspicious transactions to FINTRAC.
And who determines what's suspicious?
Large and suspicious.
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
We don't have to play the whole thing. We see where this is going. Also wanted to show that they made it illegal for people to this is how the people fight back. Like, because they're going to find ways. People are creative. Mm-hmm. People are going to find ways to make it hard for them no matter what. So we were talking about last week how people were they were making it illegal to have gas cans. So because these trucks were running out of fuel, people were supplying them with gas. So they made it illegal to have gas cans. And we were saying how people were just showing up with water or empty gas cans. So people were putting the videos up on Twitter. I just wanted to show for inspirational purposes, like what people are doing to fight back against this. Tons and tons of people showing up with gas cans.
Yep. That's how you come together.
Because how can the police stop everyone? You know? Like, just having the resources to stop everybody is not even possible. But this is what it takes for people to push back against authoritarian rule and dictatorship. You know what I mean? This is why I put
which is literally the spirit of Antichrist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's what's going on.
Right. That's why I put in the title Canadian Fascism, because this is literally what this is.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's Canada. Are Canadians known for just chilling and just being neutral and stuff?
Yeah, but a lot of
surprising to me.
Jake was talking about I don't know if you guys saw this, but Abba and Preach were on Flagrant 2 with Andrew Schultz and well, I don't think Akash was on there. It was just them with Andrew Schultz, and they were talking about
Abba and Preach. They're from Canada,
right?
They're from
Quebec. Yeah. But they were talking about why things like this happened in Canada, and they went into like, we trust our government more because our government does a better job of what did he say? They have better PR.
They have better PR. Yeah.
Yeah. They basically do a better job of making themselves seem like Americans was built on not trusting our government. Like that's how we were. Yeah. That's how we were created. You know what I mean? In revolting against
the Britons.
Right.
The checks to.
Yeah.
We
Redcoats are coming.
We were designed to not have to trust the government.
Right. We were designed to, like, literally, the founding fathers said that if you don't follow the Constitution, then there's no point.
Right. Tyranny will come no matter what.
Right. So the Constitution, there's a reason why we have that. It's a little different in Canada. You know, they don't have the same. We have the most unique foundation in our country.
Yeah.
It's like no other country, which is really cool.
We the people. We the people. It's the key thing. We the people. The United States. The United people together withstanding. Like we see it, in Canada. It's the unity that's going to make change. A house divided will not stand, but a house united will withstand.
And I think for Canada, this needs to be a wake-up call for the people. I think that something like this is waking them from their slumber. It's breaking that spell, and dispelling the complacency that they
let into the house.
Right, exactly.
Right. If you let something into the house divided can't stand. You let it into the house, right? It causes division, right? And then you start looking around. Well, what's going on?
Yeah.
This spirit, this thing is causing division. We got to get it out.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on right now. People are looking around like, what's going on? Why are we? And for them, Abba and Preach, they were kind of complacent in the way they were acting. Mm-hmm. They don't have understanding, but they
both grew up in religious households,
right?
And they kind of fell away from that, you know what I mean?
Right. And they were very complacent, and they said the majority of the people in Canada want the vaccines, but then when they brought up some statistics and they were like, 45% are it's starting to get it's starting to gain ground. 45% are against it, which is pretty high. It's close to 50%.
Right.
So there is a shift going on, in Canada, because it used to be really low.
When you say majority and the majority is 55%, that's not that big,
right?
But you can still use the term majority and make it seem like when people hear that, it's like, oh, okay, the majority of the people want it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And some of the provinces are going against Trudeau now.
Yep. So. I think it was like British Columbia.
It was some big ones.
Yeah. They were like, we're not following him.
Yeah, we're getting rid of this stuff.
He's really, really showing his hand, boy.
Yeah, he's a part of the Great Reset.
Yeah, so. And everyone is calling him Castro Jr. Because I don't know if you know the rumor about him being Castro's son.
Yeah. And that's what happens. Like when people start standing up, it's like that's when you showed their hand, because it's like, oh, you're not gonna listen to me, you know. Like think about kids,
yeah,
you know, in a house, like when they start being rebellious, and that's different because you're a father. But if a father hasn't know how to deal with that, you know, because sometimes kids are rebellious, you got to deal with them, you know. But number one, you're not our father,
right?
Trudeau, you know, for Canadians, they're not the father, you know. You are not the father.
You are not the father.
So I had a couple things. I'm gonna skip past them because we've been going for a while. We don't want to get into what Jake had, but I do want to play one thing. Well, real quick. So I'll just show this. There's a middle school in New Jersey where there's assignment requires students to write about sex, sexuality, and masturbation. Just wanted to show that real quick. This is a middle school. Also another.
Where is that in New Jersey?
It's Bunker Hill.
That's my son.
Okay.
And Lisi.
Yeah. Yep.
Bunker Hill is right in Township, ain't it?
And then is it?
I think it is.
Yeah, middle school.
Bunker Hill Middle School.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Let's see.
It's in Seoul, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
It doesn't say on here where it is, but
I mean, there could be more than one, but
it's Bunker Hill Middle School in New Jersey. And then I just wanted to show this real quick, just showing you, you know, what these schools are up to. School cancels Guys and Dolls dance over gender inclusivity concerns. You know, so you know you see where this is going. But I want to play this real quick, just because this is our childhood right here. And somebody posted this up on Twitter, and I thought it was kind of funny because he was comparing the animation from the 80s that we grew up with to what they do today. And it's basically showing the old Thundercats and the new Thundercats.
Oh my God.
But it's crazy how
there's a new Thundercats?
Yeah. Wait till you see what it looks like. Wait till you see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of loud.
Yeah, man, that's.
Look at that animation, man. Look how they made Lionel look. I will say that the Thundercats logo inspired our Young Lion TV logo.
Come on, man.
Even the music, bro. Come on, man. Panthro was definitely the black one.
Guy.
Yeah. He was actually voiced by the dude from Cosby Show.
Oh yeah, the young
Huxtable's dad. Huxtable, yeah. Look at this. This is the new Thundercats.
No.
Nah.
Yes, dude.
What? This looks so bad.
What the heck? It look all goofy.
It looks goofy. Super goofy, yo.
Yeah.
And then they show the Silverhawks.
Silverhawks.
Remember Silverhawks?
There's a new Silverhawk?
Wait till you see.
No way.
Yo, these cartoons were the truth, man.
Strong. I used to watch it on Toonami. I remember.
Yeah. We used to have all these toys.
Oh my!
But this is Teen Titans.
Oh, this is Teen Titans.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. But still, look at the animation.
Yeah,
it's goofy.
What? So
and the music. Like,
this is what I'll point out.
Yes.
When you watch that, like the first Thundercats is more about the strength and like it's like very well defined,
yes,
like the characters.
Yeah.
And then when you watch the other one, they're like soft and weak and like
they
kind of
look
pudgy.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's like
T levels are low.
Yeah, right. Even the sword is goofy as heck. Like, yo, the Eye of Thundera was the truth, right?
The Thundercats from our era, they were eating meat.
That's some vegan Thundercats.
Y'all eating soy.
Yo, they vegan Thundercats.
Y'all
That's
eating
what it
tofu.
Yeah, and everything. So what happens? Like, you think about this, guys. you take away, because what I'm saying is the strength and there's honor.
Yeah.
Right. You take away the value and the worth of something.
And think
when you
about
do
it.
that.
Every episode there was a lesson.
Right.
Every episode there was fighting. There was this
Some
good and
tough
evil.
stuff in there.
Yeah, but it always had a moral to every episode, right?
Yeah.
Came back.
I guarantee you that new Thundercats is just about some nonsense.
Yeah.
Because when you see like all the young cartoons that they watch, it's always nonsense.
You're bringing that to me, we watch Teen Titans, and it's super goofy.
Yeah.
And our cartoons back, even G.I. Joe.
Everyone.
G.I. Joe.
Now I know.
Yeah.
And knowing is half the battle.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
There's
after
always
every
a
episode,
message.
Every episode ended with a little message where the G.I. Joes would go to some kids, right? They would go up to some kids that were doing some dumb stuff.
Yeah.
And they would be like, hey, kid, don't do that dumb stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And then the kid would say, now I know. And he would say, and knowing is half the battle.
Right.
Right?
Can you think
lessons,
of something
man.
that teaches kids like that now?
No, now
Like,
it's all about
Now it's like,
propaganda.
what do you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now it's those characters are telling them like,
Right.
you don't know nothing. Get out of here.
Yeah, the kids
Yeah.
like
Now everything is dumbed down. Everything is slowed down, dumbed down. It makes no sense. Even Looney Tunes back in the day, they had a message. You know,
Yeah.
name it. You know, like yesterday I was watching Popeye, and it was about Samson. So they're giving a message to that. You know, so they lost the morality's lost. The message. What is the message? They just creating to create, but they have no direction in it. That's what's happening. No direction in it. They're creating to create.
I honestly think, Wilmer, there is a message and a direction in there. It's just very covert and it's demonic
Subtle.
in nature. It's demonic in nature. Like it's
It's
there's a
taking
lot
God-
of subversive messages hidden in there.
It's
like,
taking God away. Like
Exactly.
what Jordan Peter was talking about. Like, our society is based on, the values from the Bible, and people don't even know that.
Yep.
And they're taking that away.
They're trying to extract that out and insert these other concepts, like you're saying,
Equity.
like the subversion of honor to adults and parents and elders. Like that's in all the young cartoons. Like it's all about like we know better, we don't listen to them, and then there's other little dynamics when you see them. It's all about snarkiness and sarcasm and in weird ways.
Yeah.
That didn't exist when we were kids.
A lot of sarcasm.
Yeah. So that's why I wanted to play that, because I thought it was interesting. I saw that on Twitter. I was like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Made me, first of all, I got to see the Thundercats intro again. And the Silverhawks. And then when they showed it up against the new one, it was like, what is this garbage, man? But yeah, so all right, that's enough. I'm not gonna show all the libs of TikTok stuff this week. We gotta get on to this. So Rams won the Super Bowl. If you guys remember, Jake did that whole breakdown on the one episode. I don't remember which one it was, where he showed the sectioned brain where it had the ram horn in there, and there's like a prophetic thing going on with that, with the Rams and the fact that they won the Super Bowl. And who got MVP?
Cooper Cup?
Cooper Cup, yeah.
Cooper Cup, right? And I noticed when he got the MVP and when he was I noticed when he got Player of the Year, didn't he? Didn't he get like Offensive Player of the Year or something before the Super Bowl?
Yeah, he got like 5 different awards.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think it was like 5 things that I didn't even know existed, like some type of. I don't know. It was like five.
But I remember him in that speech, like really praising God. You know what I mean? And it reminded me of when the Eagles won the Super Bowl and the dynamic of that team and how like they were really very God centered. Which is weird. Like, so I want to get into a little bit about like. We'll play the clips, but I also want to talk about, does God care about sports? Because I know for a fact that there are Christian channels on YouTube that are going to do whole videos on like, stop thanking God or stop doing prophetic words about, because people have done prophetic words about the Rams winning the Super Bowl, blah, blah, blah. They did it last year with the Chiefs. And it's like, God doesn't care about sports. Right. You know what I mean? So I want to talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
But first we'll play the clip of Cooper Cup. This is at a press conference, right? After the game.
This kitchen. Now Maya, Kayla's older sister. She forgot that part. She's the youngest. She didn't say.
What is that? What is
like a foodie thing.
Yeah, I don't think
that was
That's what you sent
Jupiter.
me.
Did I?
Yeah. It must have changed.
Yeah, I didn't send you that.
All right, pull it down real quick, John. I think it switched to another video.
Look at that. I'm moving all over the place. How do you guys do that?
Technology, man. You should know all about it.
So while you're doing that, Jamie, I know for me, I got some words on, like when the Patriots won. I didn't get a word who was gonna win. I got words on why they won. Y'all know that in the past. I got words on why the Eagles won when they won. I don't know if you guys remember that.
I remember that.
And also one of the years the Patriots won, I got a word about that. So I don't think, does God care about sports? No, not really. I think God cares about speaking to us through the things that we can relate to.
Right.
You know.
And the things that have our attention.
Right.
The things that our eyes are drawn to.
Right.
He'll find a way to reach us through those things.
Right.
And there's people in sports.
Right.
He cares about people.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Right.
But does he care who wins the Super Bowl? I think I honestly think only in the sense that like we're saying, he knows that
the symbology.
That's where the people are looking. So I can use this and turn this into something that matters. You know what I mean?
For example, in this video, he was making himself known. God was making himself known. So in certain things, if God said he's going to do something, because we're going to see what this video is about. I don't want to spoil it. But when God says he's going to do something and then you're walking it out, he's making himself known that he's God. Like the Bible says, let God be true and all men be liars. So, yeah, go ahead and play the video.
Okay, here we go. No sound.
That last time after losing to the Patriots, I wasn't able to be a part of that thing. But I don't know what it was. There's just this vision that God revealed to me that we were going to come back. We were going to be a part of a Super Bowl. We were going to win it. And somehow I was going to walk off the field as the MVP of the game. And I shared that with my wife because I couldn't tell anyone else, obviously, what that was. But from the moment this postseason started, there was just a belief. Every game, it was written already. It was written already, and I just got to play free, knowing that I got to play from victory, not for victory. I got to play in a place where I was validated not from anything that happened on the field, but because of my worth in God.
What is that? What is? Oh, it's playing the next video. That's Facebook for you, boy. I just want to point out real quick that I already see it coming that I'm going to get Cooper Kupp comparisons now, because anytime it's a white dude with a beard, with a red beard, I always get it. I used to Conor McGregor, and now it's going to be Cooper Kupp.
Check the comments. Somebody
right.
Blake Griffin, Conor McGregor.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah. And you understand that struggle where it's like he felt this from God, told his wife, but you can't tell anybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you
not
can't.
unless they're connected.
Yeah.
To that.
I mean, you tell the people that you know are going to keep that with you.
Yeah.
You know, going to cultivate that.
Right.
Yep.
Absolutely.
It's
all right,
like
so
this book. This book is called "It's Rigged in Your Favor," right? How would you live if you knew you wouldn't fail? That, God told him he was going to have the victory, like he said. He played from a place not trying to obtain the victory, but he already had the victory. He had a knowing. Like when you know something, you're going to do it, that you're going to get there, you have a trajectory where you're going or you're headed. So he knew within him that somehow God spoke to him. He believed it. He agreed with God. Like the Bible says, 3 touch, agree on anything to be established. So he agreed with God and saw it come.
Yeah.
So.
And now, I don't know, for y'all that watched the game, I was seeing on Twitter people, it was a bunch of memes about Cooper Kupp and like showing that he was non-existent for that first half of the game and kind of like woke up, and then the Rams just kind of took over at that point. I don't know, like in your perspective.
Odell was having a good, first quarter until he went down and he stepped up. Yeah.
It was a great game. Listen, I told this to Jacob earlier.
Odell.
I thought the Bengals was gonna win because I saw something on TikTok. with the Simpsons saying that the Bengals are good.
And you know the Simpsons is always predicting stuff, man. Most prophetic show on TV.
The Bengals, they're probably gonna be right because Joe Burrow's good. The Bengals are gonna win the Super Bowl in the near future, probably. John, you were saying Odell said something prophetic.
He was saying something about he was talking to another player, or a player was telling him, and they were talking prophetically with each other after the game. And Odell was just bawling his eyes out.
Yeah.
Him and Cooper?
No. Him and someone else. I can't remember who it was. I don't want to say the wrong name. That's what.
Okay. That's interesting.
One of the linemen.
So there's definitely some behind the scenes stuff going on with God in the midst of all
that organization,
which is really cool, especially in LA.
I was gonna say that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Connected to California,
and a team that's back newly in LA.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to explain that to Liz, which was funny because she was like, "Wait, the LA has a team," and I was like,
"LA have two teams."
Well. No, they have one team now,
They have two teams.
They have two teams? The Raiders are back in
No,
LA?
the Chargers.
The Chargers.
The Chargers are in LA? Who went to Vegas?
Raiders.
The Raiders went to Vegas. So they left Oakland?
They left Oakland.
It's LA Rams and LA Chargers in the same stadium.
I'm so out of the loop with football, man.
They share a stadium.
And the Redskins are the Commanders.
Dude. Because when we were young, it was the LA Rams and the LA Raiders.
Right.
So now the Chargers are LA now. Chargers are LA.
Chargers are LA.
Rams went back to LA.
I mean, Chargers went back to LA because they were LA at one point too.
Were they?
Yeah, like back in the day when Amber's dad was younger.
How long? Because I remember them being San Diego, but the Raiders were LA. Well, they were Oakland, then they went to LA.
I think it's before you were born.
Oh, okay. And then, so now St. Louis don't have a team.
St. Louis don't have a team.
Okay. All right. Well, anyway, now that we got all that straightened out, the musical chairs of football teams. Let's get into this first clip you sent me. The Rams will win the Super Bowl. Prophetic word from Charlie Shamp. Okay, here we go.
You might want to skip the beginning.
Okay. Like how much? Like there.
Marvel intro.
I feel the Holy Ghost.
Oh, this is the one I watched.
Hallelujah. I don't even know if I'm going to watch the Super Bowl today, but I just feel something like the Rams. I don't know. I like Rams, like Rams caught in a thicket. Maybe the Lord's got a word for America and California. Some people want California to fall off the map. But, God has a plan for California. In fact, California has seen some powerful moves of the Holy Spirit. Man.
Real quick, I just want to say, imagine, because we do this a lot, we consider California a lost cause, or these places that are super liberal or super just woke, right?
Mm-hmm.
But imagine if God can turn California around.
Yeah.
Hollywood's there. The music industry is there.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Jake talk about, I don't know if you guys have watched The Chosen. Have you watched that show?
Yeah, I watched the first season.
Dude, such a great show. Such a great, way to portray the story of Jesus. Well done.
Yeah.
And,
and crowdfunded.
Right. Yeah. They're doing season 3 now. But anyway, we were talking about how and you've said this so many times, imagine if Hollywood would take that approach that they take with Lord of the Rings or, the Marvel movies, and they did that with stories from the Bible, and really portrayed them in a way where it was well done and not this cheesy, half done Christian thing that we're used to.
Yeah.
Imagine how powerful that would be, and how it could change minds and hearts of people.
Right. And why has it been so blocked?
Right.
That's there's been something there, obviously. So there's definitely a big stronghold in that area. that can be rammed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Can be broken through
by the ram's head.
Right.
Because even in music, we know this. Like, think of all of the.
I think we're going to see that.
Go ahead.
I think we're going to start to see that. I don't know. I'm just feeling something prophetic, but I think we're going to start to see that even more. There's going to be more Christian-based movies, but also Christian-based stories, even like allegories that we're going to start to see like never before. I really feel something on that. I just feel like Charlie Chan. One thing with the prophetic is very spontaneous, and you see like he couldn't get off that topic. He felt something on it. He kept jumping on it, and then you see that revelation comes forth at the end of it because he couldn't get off it. And sometimes there's times that God's gonna put something in our spirit, and he keeps dropping in our spirit. He wants us to pay attention to that.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about Prophet Don Paul right now, and about how much work he did in Santa Barbara and
Santa Monica.
Santa Monica, that's what I meant. Yeah. But like how that place is definitely a portal into this world. Like when you think about, because I'm thinking about the music scene, I'm thinking about Laurel Canyon, I'm thinking about all of the movements that came out of that situation, the whole hippie movement, the whole free love movement, the whole drug culture movement, the whole
Jesus movement,
anti-establishment movement, the whole
on the demonic side. But yeah, even like some big movements like in the 60s, 70s, the Jesus movement, Azusa revival, like that's one of the craziest things that happened.
The Vineyard Church, that's another one too. Yeah, a whole bunch of moves of God.
Yeah. So imagine, but what I'm saying is like, imagine if all of those institutions that are set up, these huge towers that exist in California, can be turned and used for God. Because when you look at the music that comes out of California, some of the most degenerative stuff. I mean, look at the Super Bowl halftime show.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Look at the halftime show. Like that music, that culture of music, NWA, Dr. Dre's, Death Row Records, like all that stuff has been degenerative. And then even before that, like I'm saying, the whole 60s movement, you talk about the Doors, you're talking about Mamas and Papas, you're talking about Crosby, Stills and Nash, you're talking about Neil Young, you're talking about all of these people that have shaped the...
Hendrix.
Yeah, Jimi Hendrix. You know, the list goes on and on and on, but I'm just seeing it in that way where the music that needs to come out of that shift can be shifted.
Right.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about this for years.
There's a movie coming out called The Shift. It's a Christian movie.
Oh, wow.
And that movie, I recommend you guys watch the. I think it's on YouTube, but it's like a good 20 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, but it really shows how you can live different lives. Yeah, well, like a preview of the movie.
Oh, okay. Okay. Gotcha.
And sorry, I said it wrong. And it really talks about how you can live out stuff that you're not recognizing you're living out. How the enemy will do, like multiverses. He shows you multiverses, the things you live out. It's called The Shift, because a shift is here. The shift is here.
Nice. Yeah. Let's get into this, because
all right, I'm gonna keep playing this. But it just I had to stop it because that
No, that was good.
Think about another Azusa Street happening. Think about another Jesus awakening. Jesus movement. Hallelujah. Wouldn't that be something? I mean, who knows what a Bengal is anyways? I mean, I like biblical animals.
Yeah, lions, baby. Care about them Bengals.
I don't know. I like the Rams. Anyways, might be a word from heaven for us. God's sacrifice is enough for this nation to come back again. I don't know. Might be a word from heaven. Anyways, Psalm 147, verse 18. Might feel like we're down and out, you know? Like we got to come from behind in this hour.
And the Rams came from behind.
Yeah. Defenseless. We're not going to be able to win. But the Lord has a ram caught in the thicket. A sacrifice And I believe in this hour, not only is the sacrifice of the Son going to accomplish much in this country to bring it back, but the sacrifice of the church and the people of God and the bride of Christ is going to rise in this hour. And from the East Coast to the West Coast, we are going to see a tidal wave of the Holy Ghost hit this country. We're going to see a blood-washed nation. Not bloodshed, but the blood-washed. Jesus, his blood covered from the East Coast to the West Coast, because his sacrifice is enough. How many believe that? Look at this and
Amen.
Yeah, and there was another guy who prophesied about it. We don't have to play it, but there was another guy that I sent you. He prophesied about it. Wilmer sent me that.
There's a friend of mine. I was actually speaking to him earlier, and he's been prophesying a lot of stuff that's coming to pass, and and he shared that with me, that video where he prophesied about the Rams.
Wow.
Okay.
So I just wanted to go through like just a little bit about like the ram, and he said it. Your friend said it. Charlie Shamp said it. There was another woman who spoke about it, which is Kelly Marie. She's prophetic too. But they were speaking about when Abraham was going to sacrifice Isaac. God told Abraham to sacrifice Isaac, right? And that's like, what is he sacrificing? The promise. God spoke to Abraham and said, you're going to have a son in your old age, right? This is the promise. Through your seed, I'm going to change the world, right? So, but then he's like, okay, I want you to sacrifice the promise, right? And not only did he have to agree to it, his son had to agree to it because his son was older at that time. He had to lay down his life, right? And in the midst of that, there was a sacrifice that showed up. God told him no. And then there was a lamb that was, or there was a ram that was caught in the bushes, right? And that became the sacrifice. So that word in the Hebrew is ayil, and it means a few different things. And I just wanted to like kind of go through that a little bit. Ayil means oak tree, right? Because an oak tree is strong. It was one of the strongest trees, right? So it signifies strength. It means a ram. It can mean a deer too, because deers have antlers. And it also meant the lintel. And the lintel is that supporting beam over the door. It's what holds open the door. If that lintel isn't there, everything collapses, right? So it's what keeps it open, right? And you think about even when the blood was put over the door, the lamb's blood was put over the door for Passover, it was put over the lintel and the doorpost. So all of that is significant with the Lamb of God. Jesus was the Lamb of God, but a male Lamb of God turns into a ram, right? So Jesus is that lamb in which that's where we get our strength, our power from. So that's what the significance is. Also, I wanted to mention that the ram's horn was used to anoint David, right? So the first king was Saul, a ram's horn wasn't used. He was anointed, but not through a ram's horn, right? The oil was a flask of oil. It was a flask, so it was a man-made thing, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But with David, it was a ram's horn that he was anointed with, and the ram's horn, again, it represents strength. It also is the shofar that you blow through.
I was just about to say that.
Right.
Yeah.
To bring people to battle or to alert people. Right. So you have all these aspects, right? And it's connected to strength and support. So I wanted to, and then also the one thing we talked about on the podcast was something in our brain, which is called the hippocampus, is in the shape of a ram's horn, right? And the hippocampus is the complex brain structure embedded deep in our temporal lobe, and it has a major role in learning and memory, in learning and memory. So that's key. And it's connected to triggering.
Yeah, there goes one right there.
Okay, there's a shofar right there that Wilmer has.
And this is from a ram's horn. This is a little ram's horn.
There you go. Yeah. So and there's a sound. There's a certain sound that comes from a ram's horn, right? So, and we can go deep into all those things. I'm just trying to just go on the surface of stuff right now. But the ram of God, Jesus is that lamb or that ram that lays down his life, right? The sheep are led to the slaughter, right? So Jesus was led by God to the slaughter. And he's what he's saying to us is, it's not by our own might. It's not by our own power. Our minds try to figure out ways to work things out. You ever see something comes up and now we're like, well, the reason why that happened is because of this, and this. The reason why. And I know from God said to me, don't get focused on the reasons. I'm the solution. Right? And when we focus on the reasons, we're always caught up in like the little parts. We're caught up in details that don't really matter. Right? And you can get caught up in all those little issues when you're not really going to understand the major things, the weightier things, the weightier matters, right? So sometimes we try to figure it out, like, well, why are you going through that? Well, you didn't do this, and this, which is not necessarily true, right? Why are you, if you're a child of God, why are you going through all these issues, right? So people will say, oh, you got, religious, you got sin in your life.
Yeah.
Like stuff like that, when that's not necessarily the case. A lot of times it has to do with a ram coming against you, right? So you think about a ram, don't rams fight each other? Yeah. Right. And they fight with their heads. Right.
Bump heads.
So you're bumping heads. Yeah. It's all about the mind. Right. The Bible clearly speaks about the mind as the guard. Right. Who's guarding at the gates? Right. Your heads. The heads are what guards at the gates. Right. The minds. The men are connected to minds. The mind covers the heart. Right. So here's the point. When traumatic stuff happens that affected you in your heart, your mind triggers, right? You trigger that memory of what happened to you. And that's why a lot of times people lash out emotionally, right? So that means you're controlled emotionally by the things that have happened to you. You're a victim. But what God does is he teaches us how to pay attention to the things that happen to us and remember him in those things. And we bring him into those things, and eventually he takes away the triggers. And now we become a power over our emotions. We learn how to recognize our emotions, but it doesn't have a power over us, right? So it's a total change of mind. That's the mind of Christ, right? So it totally changes our mind. But when we, as human beings, figure things out, or we think we got things figured out, what happens is we start becoming prideful, like, oh, I know how to deal with this situation, right? Oh, I know how to deal with that, right? And then I start telling other people how to deal with something when really, because I think I figured it out. And that's where we start to become prideful and arrogant. So I just wanted to read this one scripture. It's 2 Corinthians 12. 7-10, it says, because this is Paul speaking, he says, because of the extraordinary greatness of the revelation that he received, right? God has shown him amazing things. He said, for this reason, to keep me from exalting myself, to keep me from being arrogant, there was given to me a thorn in my flesh, right? This is something that's coming against me, right? A thorn in my flesh is pressing on me. If something's hit me in my flesh, it stings, right? It's pressing on me. It doesn't feel good. So a thorn in my flesh as a messenger of Satan to torment me, to keep me from exalting myself. Concerning this, I pleaded to the Lord 3 times that it might leave me. See, so he's like, this is going on. God, I don't understand. He's praying 3 times, right? 3 times is significant. And then it says, and he said to me, my grace is sufficient for you. My ability, grace is ability. My ability is sufficient for you. For power is perfected in weakness. There we go. So the power of God over our lives is perfected in our weakness when we have to be humbled because we think we know too much. Mm-hmm. And then when we don't know how to do it, we can humble ourselves, go to God, and he can work things out. And sometimes we just got to wait on him. Sometimes it's just like, I'm going to do it. Be patient, right? Wait on me.
Right.
And I'll work it out. So then it says, most gladly, therefore, I will rather boast about my weakness so that the power of Christ may dwell in me. Therefore, I delight in weakness, in insults, in distress, in persecutions, and difficulties on behalf of Christ. For when I am weak, then I am strong.
And I'm going to read that in the New Living just to give the, little different version of it. It says 3 different times I begged the Lord to take it away. Each time he said, my grace is all you need. My power works best in weakness. So now I am glad to boast about my weakness so that the power of Christ can work through me. That's why I take pleasure in my weakness and in my insults, hardships, persecutions, and troubles that I suffer for Christ. For when I am weak, then I am strong.
Powerful.
Yeah.
So Wilmer, since you're on here, what do you take out of that?
I mean, there's a lot, but first and foremost, going back to the Ram thing, I didn't know anything about. God didn't speak anything about a ram, but I know for this year he just said that one of the things he just said for 2022 the year of sacrifice, and he brought me to Genesis 22 verse 2. Then he said, take now your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the land of Moriah and offer him there as a burnt offering on the mountains of which I shall tell you. So that's 2:2, right? And so the Lord brought
as you said that, we've been streaming for 2 hours and 22 minutes. As you said, 222. As you said, 222. It went to 2 hours and 22 minutes. Wow.
Oh, I see it right here. I just saw it right here. That is crazy. That's what you call God's timing. That was God's timing. You know how God he makes himself known.
Yeah.
Right. Even in that. Yeah. Even stuff like that. It blows my mind. But what I think about is like when we're weak, he's strong. And it refers to also what I think about that is being a sacrifice before, surrendering to his will and to his plan. 3 times. You're talking about 3, right?
Yeah.
3 times Jesus denied himself concerning, the passing of the cup. It says, nevertheless, let your will be done. So 3 times. So we see that. And then 3 times also with Peter, right? So, and it was 3 days when Jesus resurrected. We see the number 3 there, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. So what speaks to me is that we think when we're strong, we have it all together. Like you said, when we think we have it all together, we think we know, but we don't know. We really don't know. And we have to understand that in this hour, we need each other. We need each other's wisdom. We need each other's experiences too. Because in their experience, there is wisdom. Like the Bible says, you hold on to the good and you remove the bad. There's certain things that you don't need, but certain stuff that's being shared that you need, that there's wisdom. Because the Bible says you walk with the wise, you'll be counted as wise. And in the multitude, there's counsel, there's wisdom, and there's peace. That's how you wage war, is through the multitude of counsel. So with the ram and what you said, I thought about that movie, which you can't play, but that football movie where they butted head. A Concussion is called, right? I think it was called Concussion.
Oh, Concussion. Yeah, with Will Smith. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And that caused the problem. And I was like, wow, I never thought about that. Is that we're in a time of collision. There's a time of colliding between the kingdom of enemy and the kingdom of God. There's a colliding that's happening where there's also the rising of like Elijah versus the prophets of Baal, like we saw in Canada. I feel the presence of God. Like we saw in Canada, they had to stand up to what was coming against them. It was like 800 something false prophets against Elijah. Elijah was by himself.
Yeah,
he had to depend solely on God, and God's putting us to a place where we solely depend on Him, where we're crying out to Him. So when we're weak, we're strong in Him, because in weakness He's made strong, and His power is made perfect. That's when our humanity. I'm not talking about Christianity. I'm talking about humanity, because it's our humanity that brought us to a place of knowing the Lord. It brought us to a place of crying out to God. And the Bible says anybody who cries unto the name of the Lord will be saved. And many times we go through things and we don't cry out. But the Bible says the spirit of sonship cries out, Abba. We cry out to Him. Mm-hmm. And when you study about that crying, Galatians chapter 4, that crying is like a screeching of an eagle. The high pitch, that's the type of cry that it hurts. The travailing. And many times suffering produces what? It produces perseverance within us. It produces character. It produces wisdom. It produces and when there's suffering, there's a need, it produces wisdom to come forth, or inventions even in a time of need, of suffering. God causes people to rise up with a solution, but it's a place of humility. So it's just the dying to the self and rising up to him for his purpose. Mm-hmm. So yeah, with the ram, and I also think about where the Bible says, hold on to the horns of the altar, right? The thing about the horns of the altar, like when it comes to intercession and praying, and you said about David, I'm going to go back to that thing about David. That'll be the last thing I'll share. David was anointed like a ram's horn, and Saul was anointed with a flask of oil. Saul wanted to put on David his armor. David did not need Saul's armor. David, all he needed was to have God having his back. God went with David. He had a confidence in God because God gave victory to David with the lion and the bear. David already became skilled in a place of fighting and combat.
And trusting in God. Yeah.
And trusting in God and depending on God. So that'll be the last thing I'll share. I don't know if anybody else wants to share.
Yeah. There was one thing that as you were talking, I was thinking about this. What do we do? We're led to the slaughter. What Jesus says, if you're going to be hated because I'm hated, right? You're going to be persecuted because of me, because of my name, right? If you want my name respected, then you're going to have to die. Yeah. You're going to have to suffer, right? Put some respect on my name. Yeah. You better respect my name, right? And trust me, and then you're going to see my name respected more and more in this earth. So here's the way we see, because I think there's like you just said, there's a clash between the Spirit of God and the spirit of the Antichrist, really, right? And those who are for God and those who are against God, but act like they're for God. And there's something that Jesus said. He said that to beware of the false prophets, right, who come in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. Right. Right. And that's connected to, think about earlier, we talked about those who died because the dogs are like the wolves, right? The power of the dog, right? This is the power of the dog that wanted to, when Jesus was on that cross, they were ready to pounce on him, right? But who actually got devoured by the power of the dog? Jeroboam's family, Jezebel, Ahab, right? Ahab's family, right? That was the curse that was put on them, right? And again, 22, right? 22 years in reign. And Ahab he wanted to hear good things, right? He wanted to hear prophets prophesy good things to him, right? Yeah. Always. So you have this spirit of the prophets of Baal, or these prophets that are prophesying what people want to hear in their hearts, right? Those are the ravenous wolves, because they won't die. They don't respect God, right? They don't honor God. And those who honor God are going to listen to him, are going to reverence him, are going to die, are going to lay down their life for others. And that's the key. And you'll start to see that more, like, are we willing to lay down our life for others, right? And that's how he was talking about it. All these different ideas are going to come up, right? The gifts of God, and I spoke about this last time, like they start to come as we're helping others. As we're helping others, God gives us what we need to help others. Right. Right. That's how, and then we lay down our lives in that way, and God makes us through our dying to ourselves. Because who wants to? I want to help myself, but God's like, no, help them. Give there, right? Give over here. Give yourself. It might not be money. It might be give your skill. Give whatever. But in that, now He produces more fruit in your life, right? So what does He say to them? He said, inwardly, they're ravenous wolves, right? They look like sheep. They look like they're going to die, but they're not going to die. Yeah. They're going to sacrifice, but not to my altar, right? And then He says, you'll know them by their fruit, right? So how can you know them by their fruit if you don't first know the fruit of God? If you haven't tasted the fruit of God, right? And so I think he's showing us that, like, the ones who taste the fruit of God are the ones who have received the true prophet, right? Those who have received somebody who laid down their life, who sacrificed, right? Those are the people. Then now people are going to see, wait, this is really what God's about, right? That's fake right there, right? These people have been trying to trick us, but what God is really about is these people laying down their life. You know, that's the image of Christ. Right. So I think that we're going to start to see that now. You know what I mean? More and more. That's the battle we're in.
That is definitely the battle. And I think as we continue and as we continue to hold our ground and learn how to die to ourselves and sacrifice ourselves for others, we're going to see those things manifest in the world a lot more. Hey, man, listen, I appreciate you, Wilmer, for coming on, brother.
Yes.
This has been great. A couple comments that we missed. Lena said, when you said there's a certain sound from the Ram's horn from the train that goes through my town blew its horn. That's another God's timing thing. Wow. That's crazy. And Mom said, I've been seeing 222 so much. Yeah, man. We're coming up on 22222, February 22nd, 2022.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's definitely significance there. But listen, Jake and Wilmer do a stream. You got one coming up soon?
Do we got one?
He's down, I'm down. He's down, I'm down. You know
I mean,
that.
and listen, if you guys want to go deep, definitely tune into their stream where like they go into intercession, deliverance, prayer, prophecy, everything you can get prayed for. They gave me some great prophecy the last time they were on. But yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. I appreciate everybody for tuning in, everybody who's been with us this whole time, sticking in there. This was a good episode, man. We touched on a lot of things, a lot of important topics, but this is why we need y'all support. So if you appreciate what we're doing, and you can also give to Wilmer as well if you want to donate to you want to tell him your Cash App and everything.
He has a ministry, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mark of Love Ministry is my Cash App.
Mark of Love Ministry. So if you want to sow into his ministry.
Even with that, I just want to say that the scripture God gave me for that is John 15:13. There's no greater love than for a man to lay down his life for his friend.
Sacrificing for others, dying to yourself. That's what we're talking about. So his ministry is all about that. So if you want to sow into that, Mark of Love Ministry on Cash App. And also, again, guys, if you want to support what we're doing, what we're trying to build here, what we're trying to cultivate, the culture of the pride of the young lion kingdom, which is God's kingdom manifested into the earth, you can support on our Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/youngliontv. You see it there at the bottom of the screen the whole time. And you can sign up for any tier that you want to, become a member, and subscribe, man. And if you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, notification bell, so you know when we go live. If you're on Twitch, man, follow, subscribe, whatever you want to do. We're working on having that more interactive. John is going to hook that up for us. Again, more content will be on Patreon, exclusive stuff for the people that support and subscribe on there. And our Cash App is youngliontv if you want to just donate a little bit to the cause. Our website is jatan.com if you want music, merch, all that good stuff. And we love you guys. Keep fighting the good fight, and we'll be back next week, God willing.
Young lion go live, young lion you rich, this